uh, shout out to my man Kobe Bryant and his family and friends, and just everybody that's grieving right now due to today's news. And
Hold on, Ernest. Let me think. They said they ain't got no sound. I had a whole bunch of updates going on. They said they ain't got no sound. Now I done updated the sound. Hopefully we
oh,
straight. Yeah. Working now. Oh, from the great Garrett the Edge, the legendary. Let me give him a shout out to you. Thank you, sir. Edge checking the
that's what's
audio.
up.
Appreciate
Oh, we
that,
good
Edge.
now.
We straight now. All right, so welcome to the 9 Degree Show. Welcome everybody. Whether you're on Facebook, go ahead and donate. If you like the show or subscribe, that's all we said. That's all we got. And then we said the pride of South Carolina State, the Niners fan getting ready for next week, Ernest
I understand.
Stackhouse.
Yep,
Yeah, how
yep,
you
yep,
doing this
yep, yep.
podcast, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I was just saying that I guess I am good as can be with the latest news, but about Kobe Bryant and all of that. But man, I am excited about the new year. I am blessed to be in good health and all of that. I did have a good time this weekend that I'm going to talk about a little later in the shout outs. But yeah, that's all I like to say right now, man. I'm good.
All right, all right. Well, hello to you. And thanks again for gracing us with your presence. And again, I want to tell y'all, let me give you guys a round of applause. I know that's kind of a melancholy intro there. But yeah, I heard about Kobe. I mean, I guess all of us have. All of us are kind of in shock
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
it's Kobe, you know. But yeah, my prayers to his family because I immediately thought about the children and like the wife because we old and
Yeah.
like we got kids, so that's like what you think about. So
Right.
uh,
Right.
yeah, he's in my prayers, man. That was my favorite team. I grew up. I was
Mine too,
lucky.
man.
I was lucky to grow up in the Bulls era and the Kobe
Yep.
Shaq
Yeah.
era. The era. I like Kobe Shaq better than the Bulls.
Yep.
That was me though. You know what I'm saying?
I was a straight Bulls fan, man. Then when I moved out to Houston, I was like, all right, I'm in a city with all these NFL, hockey, NBA teams. I got to choose one that's local to the city, and I can't give up my Niners. So I went with the Rockets for a little bit there. But I always was a Lakers fan, man, ever since back in the day. But yeah, man, this news just gets to me, bro. It
Yeah,
gets to me.
yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, moving along, we say hello to the one and only. I mean, this person is famous. Shout out to you,
Nah,
doing
that ain't
another
me.
great season. And hold on, real quick, just a round of applause to the two of you. Real quick, I was just telling Bridget right before we started, but every year I always count the episodes, and at the bottom, I think it's 11 this year, because I think we didn't do something in between. But it's always like
Uh huh.
12 or 13 weeks that we actually do this show during the fall. And I know that's not easy,
Wow.
especially, like with us, how we work together this year. So shout out to both of you, and I appreciate it. And
Yeah, man. That's
uh,
dope.
saying hello again to Bridget Bell, the one and only. I mean, Tau Beta Sigma, Delta. Supreme Hazer. No, when I was just playing.
That ain't me.
I know.
That ain't
I
me.
know. I was
Don't
just
put
playing.
that on me. Nah, bro. Don't put that on me.
My bad. It slipped out. I'm just playing. Um,
Nah. Slip that back in.
right. My bad. It's
Mm-mm. No,
back.
no, no, no. That
It's
ain't
back.
me. That's not me.
What's going on, Bridget? How
Oh,
you doing in this podcast?
I'm not, I'm pretty good. I'm trying to get it, y'all. I'm trying to get it together. I'm with you. This news kind of took me back. Like I had an amazing
yeah.
weekend hanging out in Atlanta, and I promise you, we got on the plane, and just as I turned my plane out, I saw the story, and when I tell you, I was just like, I'm showing my line sister trying not to get everybody on the plane upset, so I'm showing her, and we like looking at each other like, immediately I was like, just go to sleep, just go to sleep, because tears are dropping. I'm like, oh my gosh, like that.
Wow.
This is like taking me. I had to get myself together. And then the plane lands and everybody turn their phones on and people's like yelling out like, Kobe Bryant and his daughters. And I'm just like, y'all, like, come on, don't do this to me. When
Mm.
I tell you this is like, we're going to get together this podcast. I promise you, we're going to get together. But this initial shock, like, I'm just like, what
Yeah.
in the world? When you see and watch someone grow up as your sports hero, and I'm trying to tell you, I'm with you. I was in that Bulls. I was a huge Michael Jordan. If this is Michael Jordan, I wouldn't be on air. I'm trying to tell you that
Hmm.
now, because Michael Jordan, I'd be like, no, Jesus. But anyway, but I grew up in that era. But to grow up and watch kind of Kobe shine come through, and I'm heartbroken. I teach kids. I teach
Hmm.
middle school kids. So I'm heartbroken about the story about his daughter, and my prayers go out to the family. I can't even
Yeah.
imagine what his wife and the kids and parents and all of them are going through right now. So my sincere prayers and thoughts are with everyone, the Bryant family, everyone who knew and loved him, and even the fans who he has impacted greatly. My prayers and shout outs to them. But we're gonna get together because we're gonna talk Honda. But I know
Yeah.
everybody's just like, what? So it just takes out of respect. We just have to take a moment and just kind of be like,
Yeah.
our prayer wishes are with them. But woo, that thing, like I'm saying, trying to I had to get my face together before I got on air. I was like, oh, just put a little something on so I don't come on here looking crazy. But really, when I say this news is really kind of taking me, I had literal chest pains. I was sitting on the plane like, oh, my chest hurt. And I was like,
Mm.
just go to sleep, go to sleep. Just trying to get it together for a minute. So, yeah, my prayers really with that and thoughts. We can dedicate this podcast to them because this was tough.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah,
shout out to them and their family. We're gonna pray for them for sure.
yeah, definitely something uplifting. But yeah, I was in shock, and I'm just not tripping. Y'all are my age, so of course y'all would know the time that we grew up.
Right.
He was born in '78, and that was me. And I also remember, um, he one thing I remember he had some a video of him in high school. And I don't
Mm.
know if y'all remember this video, but he got some videos and he was dunking and then throwing
Oh
it
yeah.
up like he was the Q's. Have y'all ever seen that video?
I no, I hadn't seen that.
Oh yeah, they must have had
I
some
think
little
I
click.
remember that.
Yeah, so they must have had some little click where he was doing that and he was throwing it up, and I was like, Kobe the Bros. I'm like, Kobe players, he the Bloods. So like that's dope. And yeah, and then I remember he went to prom with Brandy, cause like
Yeah.
'96, that was like our prime
Yeah.
time, all of that stuff. And
Yeah.
I remember he went with Brandy. I remember that. So
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, I'm still in shock though. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
shout
Well,
out to the
we're gonna
family.
we're gonna get this thing. We're gonna get this thing rolling, y'all. We got it. We're gonna
Oh,
get the
yeah.
Honda.
Yeah. Yeah.
Word.
We got
All
it.
those people who can't remember else join us. We got this. We're gonna pull it through for our boy Kobe. So shout
Right.
out to Kobe and the family.
Right. He would have want us
All
to finish it. You know what I'm saying? He want us to talk about the Honda. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So I'm telling you guys, I'm really excited to talk to you because I wasn't there, but I was there. So let me go ahead and give a shout out
Oh
to all
really?
our
Oh really?
videographers.
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
I want to
Joe,
shout.
Yeah.
it was really cool because I got to run into quite a few of them. We got to run into quite a few of them that was there. So shout out to all the people who
Yeah.
ran it, all the crews that were represented in the place. Shout out to them. Everybody was asking, when y'all gonna get Joe to come?
I know.
when you
Yeah.
gonna get?
Yeah. That's what I got too.
We're
I,
gonna make it happen.
Next
We
year.
want. We're gonna make that thing happen for Joe. That's
I'm gonna be
what
there
I'm
next
you.
year. Next year, I'm telling you, straight up.
Yeah.
So that's what's up,
Before we
y'all.
jump into Honda, can I do a shout out? Can I do a shout out before we
Oh
do
yeah,
jump into
yeah.
Honda?
Oh yeah, I definitely was gonna go do the shout outs. But go ahead, Bridget, what you got?
Let me tell you, I'm gonna give a shout out to my parents. They celebrated 50 years of marriage on Wednesday. The good
Oh
bitch
man, that's all right.
lady Crawford, 50 years.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Our parents have been together. They started dating in middle school. So when I see my little middle school kids,
What?
I be like, they might be yeah, 13 and 14. They started dating. They
Wow.
married young. They've been rolling 50 years. Let me tell you that you talking
That's
about
awesome.
outstanding. They did a little clip. If anybody goes to my page, Janelle Bree page, they did a little snippet. Like I made them, my mom's from the old school. Get me off that Facebook, but I made her do a little video. Kind of what nuggets of wisdom about marriage. How they were able to make it for 50 years, But so check it out on my page, and they're going to be doing, they're in the process of working on a book and some other things. So keep them in your thoughts. But shout out to the good Bishop and Mrs. Benjamin Crawford on 50 years of marriage as of January 22nd. I love you dearly. The perfect example, consummate example of love and marriage and commitment. Like they are the best. It's no act. It's real. I've seen it. So that's my shout out.
Awesome.
That is an uplifting story because I don't know where they at. I don't know where the couple's at because it's hard out here in these streets. Ernest,
I was like, dude,
hey man,
I was struggling to make 5 years. They talking about some 50 years. I was like, ooh, I struggled to make 5 years. So shout out to them for real.
yeah,
5 years was a struggle.
yeah. I'm on round 2 myself. So
Really?
yeah.
It's 2 years in, Joe.
Oh no. Round 2 as in
Come on,
marriage number 2.
Your second marriage. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I was about to say.
Yeah.
I'm about to say. I thought you ain't no newlywed now. Hold on.
It'll be 9 years for us this upcoming year.
That's
yeah.
what's up. That's a good thing.
Yeah,
That's a good
boy.
thing.
Yeah, let me tell you. So that is awesome. I think I saw that. I think I saw your post too, Bridget. The other thing too, they look good. They don't look old.
Yeah.
They
They
look
don't.
good. You know what I'm saying? So
No, they look amazing. That's they keep themselves together. They so cute, so they still like dressing alike and like on a day they be like, "What you wearing? What you?" And I'm like, "Yo, so cute." Funny story, family friendly story. But so I took Zoe and I went over there to take them their little gift. And so when I came into the house, it's your parents' house, so I don't be knocking and all that stuff. I'm not, hey, y'all, da. My mom gave me that look like, what you doing here? So she just tips on upstairs, come back down, tell me something. She come back with an overnight bag, tell me something. We leaving going to a hotel. I was like, oh my God. I was like, well, y'all keep it spicy at this. I was like,
That's a secret
I was like,
to 50.
okay,
Okay.
I was trying to tell you, put us right out. They're gonna call me later, tell me something. We in Virginia at such and such. Nah, y'all good. Y'all good. So they're so cute. They really are a cute couple. They keep themselves together, but they are. I was like, I won't make 50 years or nothing, but I thank them for their example.
That's right. That's
cool.
right.
That's cool. Well, yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, give us some faith. Give us all some faith.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what's up, y'all.
Y'all hanging in. Y'all do that thing. Keep the hope alive for me. Y'all too. Y'all go ahead and do that.
Word. Yeah, we'll keep you, you know what I'm saying, what's going on. Ernest, any shout outs?
Sir.
What was going on with you this week? Anything happened after the
Damn.
holiday? How was it? We seen your Niners advance to the Super Bowl. What's going on with
I got so many shout outs, man. So hold up. First of all, let me shout out the Noops because I don't think we were on J5. So yeah, I got to shout out my frat J5. We 107. So yeah. Then we got
hold on, Ernest. We need to go back just for clarification purposes. When you say J5, this is a band podcast, so we don't want them thinking you talking about the drum majors at Jackson State. Cause you
no. I'm talking about the original J5.
Oh, okay. All right.
Since 1911. That J5. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. We had to let them know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then my Niners, we won the NFC West. And then we won the NFC Championship. So, we busting heads. We doing what we got to do. About to be 6 rings on these fingers here. So, yeah, shout out to them Niners. Yeah, we're going to take care of business next
week. I don't know, man. I'm a little worried.
Right. Kansas City. Come on, man.
I'm from Missouri.
Come on.
I'm from Missouri, man. So I'm halfway rooting on them. And I like Andy Reid. I like Andy Reid, man. You know what I'm saying?
He's all right.
Yeah.
But, man, this Super Bowl is going to be a toss-up. It's going to be over after the second quarter. Just like the NFC Championship was.
They confident, boy.
I see the only people, now, if it was us in Baltimore, I would be concerned.
Right. Right.
But since it's not.
I'm crying. So hurt. I'm so
It's a
hurt.
cakewalk.
That's okay. We
It's
got
a
next
cakewalk.
year.
Yeah, they had. I
Cake-
guess they had that time off. I guess it can help people or it can hurt people, but they started
Yep,
out slow,
Hurt.
and they had all
they
them
Definitely,
did.
definitely
drops.
hurt.
They had all them drops
Yeah, that
too,
definitely.
man. Like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's supposed to be in Baltimore. I don't care what nobody say. This Super Bowl is supposed to
We can't
be
talk
the
about it.
Niners
My
in
heart still
Baltimore.
hurts. I haven't recovered. My heart still hurts. So we're gonna leave this
Yep.
topic alone. Good luck. Oh,
I got you. Then I want to shout out my LBs, man. Nine solid. SC State Marching 101, Spring 97. KK Side, baby, nine solid. We did it big this weekend. We had the suite up in the Mercedes Benz. So if you saw my post, that was my line, man. We do it big every year. We celebrating our anniversary. Usually we do it at homecoming, Honda, and another event that we just get together every year and just wild out. But this weekend was one of those events, man. We just had a great time. Tore up the city, tore up Atlanta. Uh, if you know any of my LBs, you know things get crazy when we get together. So that's all I got to say. We had a good time, man. Nine solid all day.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
So, yeah.
So I want to double check with you, Ernest. I'm just double checking because last
Uh,
week I know we had a discussion because we was about to come on the air, but we wasn't sure. You said, okay, we just save it for next week. You talk about your fraternity. Now,
yeah.
supposedly one of your line brothers I heard was in the
oh,
news. The line brother, what's your line brother name? Boosie. Boosie. Boosie went to
yes,
Yeah,
South
sir.
Carolina
man.
State. Boosie went to South
Hey.
Carolina State, and
He was in the band too. He was in the band too.
yeah, he's in the band. He plays saxophone because you know Boosie's skinny. You know, he plays saxophone,
Now
and
he's skinny.
so I was messing with Ernest because
Oh God.
this doesn't happen to everybody. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I think I told you I got a picture of Whitney Houston throwing up, the bruhs. So basically, I think he had a Kappa shirt on or something like that.
Yeah. He went to the
Uh,
game or something with it
went to
on.
the game and people started hitting him up, probably
Uh,
asking him questions, probably when he played all that.
yeah.
And so now what he said he gonna like offer some money to y'all for a stroll or something.
He talk about he wants somebody to teach him the stroll, and he gonna donate something to some.
Oh,
I don't know, man. Boosie got. It was just funny to me. It was just funny to me. But a lot of people got offended, But
right, right. But
I
I
didn't
mean,
get
it was
offended.
funny.
I thought it was
It was
funny.
funny to me too.
He did at least come on it. He at least did come on and apologize. But
Yeah,
apparently
he
his brother,
did.
his blood brother, is a newt. Yeah, his blood brother's a newt. So it was funny. He got a little
Yeah,
video of his brother trying to teach him that little wipe me down joint. It was so
yeah. I
funny.
saw that. I
Yeah,
saw
I did
that.
too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That was hilarious too. Yeah.
And I think one of the videos that had brought it up. There's a little boy that's
Mm.
like
Oh
stepping
yeah,
at the party, and then the Noops is there in the background, but of course the little
yeah,
dude. I mean, he's showing out.
yeah. He
You know
got
what I'm
his
saying?
shoulders. Yeah.
Yeah, he went to the
I was
ground
like,
with him.
what?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I had to laugh at you about that one, Ernest, man. Ernest, man, I ain't gonna lie, man. Ever since I met you, man, something funny always come up, and it be like indirectly involving you, cause, uh, cause I halfway got to bring something up about fam and their
Oh,
decision about the halftime show and who they
okay,
Oh
brought out for
boy.
the halftime show. So yeah, we gotta
okay,
talk about that, man, cause it's got a
okay.
Come on,
connection with South Carolina State.
let's hit Honda then. Let's roll with it.
All
Let's
right.
roll with
Yeah,
Honda then.
So yeah,
let's
let's go
roll.
Like we
ahead and
ready.
do the first round of commercials. I didn't have any shout outs other than to my son. He started track practice. He's gonna run track like his dad.
All
State
right.
champion, triple jump champion 1996. Joe Beard.
What?
Yeah, you
I
know what
didn't
I'm
know
saying?
that,
Yeah,
Joe.
man, you know what I'm
All
saying?
right.
Just toot my little horn, a little something.
State champion. That's all right.
State champion and went to March for Mr. Gray in Charlotte and the Golden Bulls. And then, boy, what the hell you doing? You ran track and you going to Johnson City? Nah, just play. But nah, man. So other than that, my mom's came out here. She said, "Shout out to y'all." and
Uh,
Hey,
everything's
Mama.
wow.
cool. Yeah, she always comes out here every year because of the weather. The winter time,
Yeah.
and that was pretty much it.
Nice.
I've been following the Rogers brothers, following Travis and them with Show Style, and they look like they've been having a
So
good time.
yeah, they did. So shout out to them. And so I was going to kind of talk about that with the little whole the Honda experience. But so my line sisters and I, shout out to my line sisters, my travel buddies, my one and my three. We got into Atlanta. Like our flight was out of Baltimore like 11 p.m. So we got into Atlanta Friday morning like 1 a.m. And let me tell you, Rogers Brothers was waiting on us. They had the little transportation, little party bus, and Travis Crazy Stuff was on there. I think it's called Epic Atlanta Transportation. So thank them for picking us up at 1:30, almost 2. It's probably about 2 o'clock in the morning when they got us and made sure we got safely to our location.
Oh,
But shout
that's
out
nice.
to the Roger Bros, my neighbors, my homies. You know, they always looking out for me, and I really, really, really appreciate that. So shout out to them and Travis with his crazy stuff. If you go to Travis' page or Showtime webpage, one of them, he got videos inside the inside the party bus cutting up at 2 o'clock a.m. So shout out to them. I think Brandon is the one I saw him on. So shout out to them as well.
Yeah, man. Y'all look like y'all was in a video. I was like, what? I was like, where
Yeah,
they at? And Travis was
we
like,
was in the
man,
party
something,
bus.
bro. He was like 220, bro. I mean, he was like they say, he was turned, as they say. You know what I'm saying? Crunk is old.
Yeah, he
I
was.
don't know if y'all knew that, but Crunk is old. Y'all turned or lit. That's what y'all got to use for the young people. See, I'm on
You
my
say
version.
lit, but T at the end.
Yeah, there you go.
Bless his heart. Bless his
So,
heart.
so yeah, so it was cool. So yeah, so shout out to all y'all, and I definitely wanna. Oh, and then Bridget sent me a picture. She had a picture with Garrett. So shout out to him, the great Garrett Edgerson. So yeah, shout out to
Yeah,
everybody.
he was in our suite. Christy had a suite. Christy from the fifth quarter, so we were on the suite level, nice suite, whatever. But everybody just ended up in everybody's suite. Like once you get up on that floor, everybody's stopping
Yeah.
by everywhere.
Right.
You know, so but Garrett was in the suite, so I got to stare and chat and cut up with him a little bit. So shout out Garrett, nice hanging out with you for a little bit. But so many people, so many of the media team people were kind of there. So shout out to all of them for coming through. Just real hospitable, real cool people. We appreciate they checking on us like we haven't seen y'all in a while. Y'all good? Yeah, we good. We good. So we're back and it's good. Yeah, it's good. It's good to be able to hang out with everybody.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's what's up, y'all. All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and knock out the first commercial break, and then we'll go ahead and just talk about each band. We'll just go through, I guess, just a band at a time, and just
Sure.
talk about what we thought and the experience and
Sure.
all of that. And I got some hot takes for y'all. I got some new hot takes, cause my takes, Bridget, they be hot, and it be burning up the
Okay.
screen. So we got some new potential regulations to take to the spring committee, the commission committee. Was it the competition committee like they do in the NFL? Because we're gonna have some new
Okay.
rules in the fall of
Oh
220
boy.
to decide who's
You're
who
not
got an
listening. You're not
L.
listening to in your room.
No, my what? My rules are hot. They're fire, like they
They're not.
say.
They're
So
not.
hold up.
We're gonna
Hold
keep
up.
it real.
Did you apply any of these
He's making up
rules
rules.
during this Honda presentation?
Yeah. In fact, some of the things that happened at this Honda, it opened my eyes, and I said something needs to be done about this right now, because I'm like Brian McCann. I'm the guardian of the HBCU. So like we established stuff about marches and all that stuff, and then we're gonna go further here. So hot takes coming, y'all. Hot, they hot. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and do the first round of commercials, and we'll be back with the 90 Degree Show. Thanks for listening.
Your host, Joe Beard, and the 90 Degree Show will return in a moment.
Band directors, have you ever found yourselves in this situation? Showtime is quickly approaching. Your budget is quickly disappearing. Your music choices are narrowing. The equipment condition is wearing and your stress level is mounting. Stop what you're doing and contact Block Band Music and find out how we've got you. Check www.blockbandmusic.com, providing music, equipment, gear, and accessories to show style, core style, and traditional bands worldwide.
The source for fair and factual information on your favorite college bands, blockusup.com. Well-written articles, in-depth band performance analysis, helpful resources for band directors, fun band-related topics, and exclusive interviews with some of today's brightest and most talented leaders of college marching bands. Visit us at blockusup.com, the meeting place for band fans and band directors.
And now, more of the 90 Degree Show with your host, Joe Beard.
Oh yeah, you guys can unmute your microphones. I cut back the camera too fast. Y'all go ahead. Yeah, my bad. It's supposed to be a little bit longer from that little commercial there. But we are back, ready to talk about the wonderful Honda Battle of the Bands 2020. I do want you guys to know about Bull City Music School. My classmate, Janetta Powell Smith, representing the great Jackson State University, graduating class of 2001, has built her own music school from scratch. All right, so Bull City Music School out in Durham. She has a Durham location. She got a Hillsborough location. And word on the street is she opening another one, y'all. I say, girl, buy me a burger or something. I mean, dang. You know what I'm saying? So lay it down. Remember, I believed in you first. So wherever you go, take me with you. All right. So way to go, Janetta. Give her a call at 919-423-5701. All right. All right, y'all. Real quick, getting into the conversation. You guys were there at the Honda. I want to ask you guys before we get into the particulars about the band, how was the experience for you this year? Ernest, I asked you that. How was the experience there in 2020 there in Atlanta?
Man, it was dope. I was all over the place, and I sat in the KK side TBS section for the Atlanta Alumni Association, but then I got pulled up into my line to our suite. So I was on a suite level 2 and going back and forth to some different suites. So, man, I had a ball in the dome, man. And I didn't do anything on Friday night. You know, I'm old, so I didn't go out Friday night. But Saturday, man, I got it in. Bro.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Bridget, what did you think about your 2020 experience?
So my experience was pretty doggone awesome. Like I said, I got in early Friday morning, and immediately, Atlanta is a foodie city. So if you're a foodie, it's like where you go to eat a lot of places. So shout out to Chef Ron at the food shop. I'll post a picture of him. I like supporting, if you haven't figured out, I like supporting small businesses, especially minority-owned businesses. And somebody did give us a name, Epic ATL Transportation. If y'all are in the Atlanta area, want a party bus, want some transportation, hook that brother up, look him up, Epic ATL. But also the food shop is right downtown. It's a New Orleans-bound restaurant. And let me tell you, I had the best grits and bread pudding and some of everything. So we ate there. Then some left there and went to Papa Do's. We had a little meetup with the brothers and Sarah. Shout out to KK Side and TBS because this is our event. It's like a big family reunion.
Yeah.
So we get together and we turn it up. So we hosted a little meet and greet at Papa Do's, hung out with some people there, happy hour. We left there and went to Bowl and Stroll. Shout out to Atlanta Area Alumni Association for Tau Beta Sigma, Kappa Kappa Psi and Tau Beta Sigma. They hosted once again at Metropolitan Lanes, the Bowl and Stroll event, and everybody come through. And it's people from all ages, which I kind of appreciate. Coolest thing ever. Quick story. One of the brothers and sorrows that I've known since, or I've seen them around since when I came in the bar, so they were already in. And y'all know when I came through, they were there, but they were there with their 2 daughters who are now Sarahs. One goes to Miles College and one goes to Jackson State. I was like, that's not the coolest thing ever. I was like, that's what's up. So shout out to them. They always hold a stroll off competition. Shout out to Tau Beta Sigma chapter from Perry who won, and Kentucky State gentleman who won. They did a good job.
The boys was off the chain. I saw a video of that.
Yeah, they were. But Prairie View girls gave it. They gave it, and they had a whole bunch of Shout out to your LB Ernest, Dr. Kevin James. He came through
Yeah.
and everybody cheered him on for the work he's doing with Morris Brown College. We are so proud of our brother
Yeah,
of Kappa
man.
Kappa Psi, and he's also an Omega Joe.
Art, art, art,
He also is the bros.
art.
Uh,
The Bros showing out.
Yep, he's also the bros. And of course, shout out to some of my little big brother Willie Snipes, who I was in that we hung out cutting up, acting a fool all weekend. That's whatever. That's my brother.
Yeah,
But shout
Brother
out to
Snipes is
Snipes.
cool. I like, bro. He's
Yeah, he's a
cool.
fool. He's
Mhm.
crazy. He's
Yeah.
crazy. But we cut up the whole weekend meeting up people he didn't know. I met people he didn't know. We just kind of met with people. Everybody just kind of hung out with us. So that was cool.
Mhm.
We sat in the suites area, like I said, and we were right on home side 50-yard line suite. Chrissy had an amazing suite. Shout out to Suite 180. Turn up, and everybody came through. I feel like everybody came through. But we had amazing seats. Overall, outstanding job to all the bands, really.
Yeah.
I thought it was a
Yeah.
great Honda overall, really, really, really overall experience. So that's the experience part of it. Then we're going to talk about the band
Mhm.
part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And while you were talking, Dorothy D. Lee Boswell, she said next year try Kale's Kitchen. Kale's Kitchen.
Mhm.
So
Okay,
check that
man.
out.
We're gonna put that on. We're gonna put that on the send us the link, and I will be there. We went to Juicy Crab too. There's a place called Juicy Crab. I think that's black owned
Oh
too.
yeah. Yeah.
Seafood. That was really good too. But I'm trying to tell y'all something. I'm greedy. I'm low key greedy. So we was eating our way. We was tearing up some places, but we will try Kel's Kitchen food. I see it.
Yeah, that's
There's
cool.
Yep.
so
Shout
many
out to
choices.
Antonio, we see you. Shout out to Kappa Kappa Psi is bringing back some HBCU chapters. Miles College got notification that Kappa Kappa, the Kappa Kappa Psi chapter at Miles College coming back. Hampton is getting the colony. Shout out to them. Chicago State. And I'm not sure about Jackson State. I think you got Jackson State on there, but I didn't see notification on them, so I'll hold off on that one. But shout out to them as well.
Hold up. Jackson State has been at Kappa Sap. They were there when I was there at Jackson State.
Don't do that. Don't get them in
Oh,
trouble.
I'm
We're gonna
sorry.
stop this conversation now. Let's talk about the band.
I thought that was
What we're
funny.
gonna do is talk about the band.
I thought that was
We're gonna
funny.
talk about the band.
I
We're gonna talk about the band. We're gonna talk about the
Just let
band.
it ride. Just let it ride.
I'm sorry.
We're
Damn,
gonna talk about the
don't
band.
get
What we're
mad
gonna
at
do
me,
is
man.
talk about the band.
Don't get mad
We're gonna
at
talk
me.
about the band. We're gonna talk about the band.
All right, y'all. All right,
Yeah.
just,
You must was there when the 80s when Eddie Edwards was there, and that's what we're gonna say. You were there in the 80s. He's old, y'all. Don't listen to him. Let's
yeah,
talk about the band.
yeah.
I do want to know why they bringing back all these HBCU chapters all of a sudden, though.
They heard the show.
Why?
They heard the show. They heard the
Mm.
show and they were upset because they was like, did y'all hear Ernest and Bridget say that we don't like black people? So now they making sure that they going and getting themselves right. They scared, Bridget. That's what
Gotta
it
get
is.
them optics right. You gotta get
That's
the
right.
optics right.
That's right.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Let's
No,
even it out.
it's the same thing that happens all the time. How do you
Mhm.
get people to forget the bad? Is you give them something else good? They'd be like, "Oh, we're so excited! You gave us more, but you took away one that was major,
Right.
and it wasn't." So we're excited. We're excited for the other chapters. But what about Iona News? So
Mhm.
Iona
Right.
News, we're still praying and pulling for you. That ain't over, and we know it. So, but we're gonna talk about the band.
Yeah,
We're
we
still
talk
gonna
about
talk.
the band.
Everybody, we got a lot of people watching because they want us to talk about the bands. We see y'all in the chat room. Shout out to everybody in the chat room.
Yes, ma'am.
We see y'all. We about to talk about the new bands. We're gonna pop it off with the bands.
That's man. But yeah, shout out to you guys. But I at least want to let everybody know about the experiences you guys had out there. So that's good. That's what's up. All right, y'all. So, we had the good old Honda Ballad of Bands. We had 8 bands. And I have to tell you guys, I want to give a quick little section here called "I Want Winners," and I couldn't find a good sound bite to have your old school team, Ernest, when Mike Singletary. You remember Michael Singletary was the coach,
Yeah.
and he was
Yeah, I remember.
wilding out. He was crazy. That was
Yeah.
my boy. Okay, oh my God, he was great, and he had a speech where he was like, "I want winners," you know what I'm saying? So these are the winners right here. I want to give out because I wasn't there, but based on the experience I had out here in California with the live stream, I had just a couple of notes to tell y'all about. First of all, I thought the DJ was tight. The
Yeah.
DJ
He
playing
always is. Always is.
in between. Now, does he normally do like what like? It seemed like he had like a song playing from the region the band was before the band came on the field. Does he normally do that? Or,
What do you mean? Like,
I don't know.
well, I noticed.
I don't know if he. Yeah, like go ahead.
So
Joe. I'm
I
sorry.
noticed, like for instance, like when Fam was about to be up, he played all Captain D coming, Captain D coming, Captain D coming. So he played
oh,
all the little Florida
I
stuff.
didn't even notice that. Yeah,
Oh
I didn't.
yeah. So each band he played something in regional like circumference or whatever to the
So
actual
hold
school.
up. What do you play for Grambling?
Something. I need to go back and look at Grambling. But it was one of those, and I'm not trying to be funny. The chop. The little Louisiana stuff.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
played
yeah. I thought you
something,
played some No Limit or
and then
something.
of
I don't.
course he played like some Wayne.
No, I remember that. That Grambling, he did definitely play one of them. They had that fast music.
Right.
That fast. He
Oh,
did. He definitely did. I remember them, but I didn't pay attention to the other one, so I didn't notice that, Joe.
But it was probably easy for me to notice because I was by myself here and y'all were there like kicking and everything. But I noticed like he had, and plus I'm a geography guy. But yeah, he had something with each band to come out, and I thought that was pretty dope. And I
I
want to
want to
give
know if he played for Prairie View. Then I want to play.
something
He chopped
Texas.
something to screw something. He chopped it.
It was Texas. I think Slim Thug or something. It was something he played.
Okay.
I need to go. I need to go back and look. Y'all in the chat room, if y'all know, y'all can break me down. Let me know the specifics. But I noticed that, and then I wanted to give another shout out real quick to Showtime for having the event. At one time, I had looked and there was 26,000. I can't remember the number I had in my head, but it was either 26 or 27,000 people live streaming. And I was like
Wow.
excited because
Wow.
I was like, I thought most of us was there in the stadium. We still had 25,000 of us on the outside watching, and it didn't go below 25,000 throughout the whole hour because I ended up watching the whole thing because it got me into it. So shout out to him, and then I put a little something. I like how they got the little links where you can put Cash App or you can pay them some money in the chat
Yeah.
like while you watch it. So that's dope. So I went ahead and
Yeah, it
sent
is
him
dope.
something. Yeah, because I can say, hey, that's like my ticket. Like I paid a ticket
Right.
to the Honda this year. So shout out to him. He was even out here in L.A. with Southern. So yeah,
Okay.
man, just outstanding work. I thought all the bands sounded good. But
Yeah.
I do want to ask you guys about microphones because I don't know if I gotta ask y'all that because Bridget
I
also
was gonna
said
talk.
the
Yeah, I was
sound
gonna
in the
talk about that.
stadium was
Yeah.
like so I do want to ask y'all about that. I love the field shows, but I'm getting too old for the dance routine. Like
Yeah.
I've officially given up on that. I don't know what they doing.
Yeah.
Uh, but and at the end, shout out to Eddie because word on the street. I think Scarfinger was in the chat. Scarfinger Hoodrich was in the chat while I was watching it, and he was. I think they were talking about, oh, there needs to be like a stand show or something, and he made a funny joke, said, oh, well, they don't have stands, or I think he said none of the Alabama bands there is because Eddie now is doing the Battle of the Bands for fifth quarter. So I thought that was funny. Other than that, though, I was really excited to see it. I thought it was cool, and I was just worried about if Jackson State was gonna be better than A&T or FAM. That was all I was really worried about. You know what I'm saying? But that was me. So I guess I'll give it to you guys. What band do you guys remember the order? Because I don't think I have the order that they went in.
Benedict
Yeah.
was first.
All right. So
Benedict was
Benedict
first.
was first, so we can start with them.
yeah. All right, Bridget. What did you think about Benedict?
I thought, first of all, let me say, shout out to the directors and staff. Ernest kind of put us on to Benedict earlier in the season. We like Benedict. And he's like, no, check them out. And I remember you saying that. And I was just like, and we saw them. And I was like, oh. But when I tell you, that's probably one of the better opening shows for Honda that we've seen. Absolutely, it was. They had and they set the standard. They set the bar. They set the bar pretty high.
They did.
But they had an absolutely good, and you know what I'm realizing more and more, and this is no shade, but when you're there, the sound versus, because I went back and watched the videos live too, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
different. You get a different feel, but
You do.
live they brought a nice sound, a lot of energy. They sold, and so I'm with you, Joe. I don't know if you remember me last season, but like I'm kind of over dancing. Like I've been skipping dance routines, but when I tell you Benedict sold that dance routine, and then they did the whole light thing, the
Yeah.
lights with the hot, the lit,
Yeah.
great. I thought Benedict did a very nice show. Like, if people wasn't checking for them because people don't know that name, I
Right.
called them Bennett. I couldn't even think of their name when I was posting about it. I was like, "Oh, Bennett did a good job." They was like, "Bridget, who's Bennett?" I was like, "Oh, my bad, my mistake." But
but
they
but it
did
is
a
a
they did
Bennett
a
though.
really
It's a Bennett too
yeah.
though.
There is
It's,
that's the
yeah,
women's school,
yeah.
right?
That's
Yeah,
where my
that's the
grandma
women's
went to
school.
school. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but Benedict did a really nice, really a nice size banner. I don't know how they picked the order. It looked like size, but then if it was going size, then
Hmm.
Hampton probably should have gone first because they had really a nice size band. But I thought they played well, they marched well, really nice classic kind of old school feel show, but it was very
Yeah.
appropriate. They were in the right place for the show that they presented. So I really like the work that I mean overall I thought they did a really nice job. So shout out to them.
Ernest, what you think about Benedict? Was that the
Yeah,
March of
man.
Tiger band of Tiger Distinction or Tiger
That's
Band or
right.
something? March of Distinction,
The
something.
band of
Yeah,
distinction.
the band of
Yeah.
distinction. There you go.
Tiger Band of Distinction.
There you
Yeah.
go.
The BOD. Yeah, man. They're that other band in South Carolina. but I gotta give it to them, man. They put on a solid show, just like Bridget alluded to, and I was impressed with their creativity. Their dance routine was kept me interested. It's like you, Joe. I'm old too, and I don't be feeling these
Man.
dance routines, but they kept me engaged. They kept me there, and I was in the building. And I had a whole lot going on that could have distracted me, but they kept my attention. So I was like, okay, Benedict, and the conductor, Mr. Johnson, the band director, he did a good job on the concert selection. I thought, well, he turned around to the crowd, and he always conducts the crowd, and they gets the crowd into it, and they start singing along. And before you know, I think they were playing uh, uh, Al Green or something. No, they're playing My Girl, and the whole stadium was singing My Girl. So
All right.
that
So let me ask you about that, Ernest. I'm glad you brought
yeah.
that up. Now this is one of those potential hot takes I need to ask you guys about now.
Okay.
Was it cheesy, a gimmick, however you want to pull it, for the band director to turn around and be like, "Hey, everybody, join in. You know the song." Was that gimmicky? Was he like trying to reach for some house?
I
Or
don't think so,
okay, I'm just asking.
because
Yeah,
because the crowd could have been like, I ain't singing on,
right.
it would have failed. But it's because it was a good presentation. It was presented well, good arrangement. They played it well. Everybody was jamming. So I think they would have joined in anyway.
Okay.
But because everybody knows that song. So and they were smart. They chose songs that everybody knew. So this is a family event. You got people from all different ages, and everybody knows My Girl. So that was a good song choice for the ballad, I thought. But yeah, I was impressed with Benedict, man. They're doing a great job over there. I would add that the whole staff is South Carolina State alum. So yeah,
Nice.
that's why they're doing a good job.
Nice. Well, that's what's up. That's what's up, Ernest. And yeah, I enjoyed them. First, let me say, this was the first time that all the bands looked like they were a certain number. Like before,
Mhm.
I remember there would be like Bethune and then Clark, and then like to the
Yeah,
eye, it would be like 300 and then like 40. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So
yeah,
this
yeah,
year, I
Yeah.
like that everybody looked. I don't want to say they
They were
looked
yeah,
solid.
deep.
Everybody was not
Everybody
yeah,
everybody
was
had
solid.
solid numbers.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Even
Yeah.
even because
Everybody was at least like 116. Yeah,
right,
like.
right. Because Hampton too. Because that was the first thing I noticed. Like Benedict and Hampton, I was like, oh, okay. They look like they fit in. Do you know what I mean? Like it
Right,
wasn't like
Yeah.
they were the best small school there. You know, like
right, right.
so. I like that. We talked
and
about Benedict. What you about to say, Ernest?
they did schedule it based on size, because that's how Prairie View got to go last. That they size wise they were the biggest band there.
Okay.
But
Yeah, somebody fluffed on their numbers because Hampton definitely wasn't bigger
yeah,
than Benedict. So
but
I'm
you
sure
know
he
what?
fluffed on his numbers, but it's
Hampton had more auxiliary. So if you look at it on paper, they'd be like, yeah, we got 130 members of the band. Well, like 30
like
of them was auxiliary.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah. So, and we talked about Benedict a couple times this year. So I'm happy that they're doing well. Of course, the more of us that do well is better for all of us. But I was definitely surprised at their performance. They had a solid show all the way through. In fact, everybody had a solid performance all the way through.
Yeah.
So it really
Yeah.
was like
Absolutely.
a celebration kind of our bands this year. Like
Yeah.
they all have some quality. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. And it's really hard to rank them this year.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it
my whole
was.
little breakdown or analysis is coming out later on tonight, y'all. I couldn't get it finished before the show, but it will be out later on tonight. And I had to go through and rank everybody. It was grueling. It took me forever to do that,
That's hard.
fairly.
It's hard.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
hard. I even give you guys props for again being in the profession, but having to do it there at a performance, like me myself, I watch something, but then I'll go back and watch it maybe 2 or 3 times to be like, oh, okay, this is what I didn't like, or I might, hover the mouse over the thread so I can see the drill. Like, so I'm actually doing some analysis. Y'all are actually there, you listen, and then you got to judge it. So that's way harder than anything that I could, I could probably be thinking about. But yeah, it would definitely was hard, even though people have their listings, and we'll talk about that. I saw Kevin put on Facebook, he had the poll, and I don't know if it's closed now. But yeah, everybody had something to say, man, that was tough. Like I don't know, cause I felt. Well, I'll get it to it. But so Benedict, I like the drills. One other thing that I thought that was good, Bridget and Ernest, was um, Rashad always calls the SWAC the step twos, like the step two drills. So that's my favorite. I like to see the kaleidoscopes. I thought it was a good collection of drills because you
Yeah.
had Jackson State doing the step twos and Grambling was doing the step twos, but then Benedict and A&T was doing their style. So you definitely got a good contrast of
Yeah.
drills, and nobody was like messing up. Like everybody
Yeah.
had a decent drill, which is what I'm always looking
I
for. I love the
agree.
drill.
I agree. And Jackson
So,
State did a new drill.
and
Like they did something I hadn't seen them do before.
brother, let me tell you about Jackson State. A round of applause.
We got to get to him. We got to get to him. We
Oh
got to
yeah,
get
you're
to
right.
Yeah,
him.
My
yeah,
bad. I'm
yeah,
tripping.
yeah.
But yeah, it was just good. I was just really, really like Benedict. They had a formation where they had like the B, and then the B was the mirror on the other side. I like that.
Mhm.
I didn't really care for the arrangement of Sweet Thing. Like
Mhm.
it was just alright. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
But that was one of my things I was gonna ask you guys about. Like, was it cheesy that because he turned around and like he was like, "Hey, y'all singing with me? Like, please give us some house." I was wondering if that was
But we've seen directors do that before. If you
Yeah.
think about Queen City, when the gospel tune was kind of happening and people were already singing, and I think that's kind of what happened was people starting to sing what they were doing, and so he kind of turned around and conducted them a little bit. You're like, yeah, it's okay, join in. I thought it was okay. I don't think it's gimmicky at all.
And
Honestly, I think this is one of the battle bands. We didn't see a lot of gimmicky stuff.
yeah, I agree. No, it wasn't many gimmicks. Not even the usual suspects didn't even do much gimmicks. So
Yeah.
everybody just brought a straight marching band show this year, man. I was impressed.
well.
And
I
go
definitely got a
ahead.
couple gimmick questions for y'all then.
Okay.
All right. What'd you say,
We'll
Ernest,
get
man? You about to say
I,
something?
yeah, I was about to piggyback on what Bridget said. Is that I think, and I was bashing my head while y'all were talking, but I was trying to remember. But that whole turning around to the audience thing is an old concept that band directors used to do when they used to play marches, and in a certain part of the march, they used to turn to the audience and conduct a certain part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was exactly, but I remember seeing that like years ago, and hearing about that.
Yeah. I'm glad. That's why y'all here to break me down, because that was the first thing I thought about. I mean, he had to hold down. They all was singing now, but I was like, were they
Yeah.
singing because he turned around and everybody know Benedict probably like the underdog? Like, is he walking the line? You know what I'm saying? Because y'all know me. I'm on the hot takes now. If you mess up, we got to come up with some infractions. But I
Um,
let him slide though. So round of applause to Benedict. Y'all wasn't pulling no good
Yeah.
job. All right,
Now,
y'all.
now,
the
oh,
second band was it Hampton? Second was the second band.
Hampton.
You were about to say something about Benedict, Ernest?
I'm
Well, I was about
sorry.
to ask y'all what y'all thought about the usage of the lights on the headgear. I thought they implemented it well, and it went well with what they were trying to do, and it didn't
Yeah,
come off as gimmicky to me, even though it was a prop, so to speak.
I didn't really
it
see
was
it.
good that they did it first. It was good that
Yeah,
they did it first. A couple of people,
yeah.
because I think Grambling had it on the shoes,
Grambling had it
and
on,
so
and I talked about that in my little analysis. Yeah, they had it
mhm.
on. Well, I'll talk about them later.
Yeah, I think they had. I think Benedict actually had the better use of it because of how it went with their show. It went with that
Right.
little hot and lit thing, and they had really good lights too. They had good lights on there. Whatever
Yeah,
like
yeah,
like
yeah.
so they had
Theirs
a
was
yeah
bigger. Yeah.
So
yeah. So it was. I thought it was good.
so see, I didn't see that part about the lights. I don't know if you probably see that in the video, but you're not talking about the lights in the stadium. You talking about the lights
No.
that the band
Yeah.
had.
Yeah.
Okay.
They had some lights on their hats that at a certain part, like when they went into the lit formation, they turned the lights on,
Oh, okay.
and everybody in my section was like going crazy over that.
Word.
Like
Yeah.
yeah, the audience ate that up, but it doesn't come across on the video clip.
Right. It doesn't. It doesn't.
Yep. Yep.
And you know what?
Yeah.
That doesn't. I don't know. Now you explain that to me. I have to go back to the drawing board, but that doesn't feel gimmicky. I mean, it feels
Right.
like
No,
it's a
it
nice
was
little
it was it
addition.
was good.
It was a nice
It was
addition.
it
Yeah.
was good.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. So way
Yeah.
to go,
Yeah,
Benedict.
and they did a good job. They did a good job forming the letters too, because we saw some other,
Yeah.
people who struggled a little bit, but their letters were good. It was appropriate for their size, so I thought they pulled it off well.
Yeah. A
Hmm.
round of applause for Benedict, man. I'm
Hmm.
glad that they were there. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad they were there, and then I'm glad they had a good showing. So they can put themselves on the map. All right,
Right.
y'all. So next band, who was the next band that went after the Hampton?
Hampton.
HU.
Hampton. Shout out to brother Thomas Jones. I know I reached out to him years ago, and I was like, "Hey man, I want I'm doing these interviews and stuff," and he was the one that gave me the idea to start interviewing students. So then after that, that's when I came up with the National Signing Day for marching bands and
Oh,
doing the
cool.
things at the high school. And then he was there at, was it King's Ransom? Ransful? Forgive me if I'm saying the name wrong.
He was that
The high
he was
school.
he yeah that high school that was up north, um Brooklyn Steppers, wasn't he?
No,
Oh, New York. Was he
that's
there?
Tyrone, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I thought that was
yeah.
Ty something.
I thought he was working with them. I thought he was working with the Brooklyn
They
Steppers.
they definitely had some kind of relationship kind of going on. I'm not
Uh
sure what
huh.
it was, but I do kind of remember that. I don't know if he's kind of helped them out or they just kind of partnered with
Yeah,
them, but
I thought he
he
wrote
did
for
have
them.
some kind of affiliation, I think, with them.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So shout
Hmm.
out
But
to
shout out to
that.
Thomas Jones.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was there. So he was there at the high school Ransom, I believe, there in Virginia last year. And I be forgetting, like when the mic goes live, I be forgetting people's names. But I think Bradley is his last name. But he went to Hampton. He's the band director there, and then we were able to do the National Signing Day at his school, and then a lot of them picked Hampton. And then the guy turned the camera to the side, and Thomas was there up in the school. I like Thomas, what you doing up in there, man? He was out he working, boy. So shout out to him because
Wow.
I really like the numbers. I like seeing
Yeah.
them not looking like a small band. You know what I'm trying
Right.
to say.
Yeah.
Right.
But you know what? The other part we're gonna give a shout out for a lot of the media team guys got to experience Honda through Hampton's eyes. Let's put it that way. He was really good about hosting a lot of the media people. Real hospitable with that. So shout out to him for doing that. Because some band directors, they kind of into their own thing, but he made
Right.
sure, he looked out for some people who kind of, he wanted them to experience, really be able to experience Honda. So definitely a
Awesome.
shout out to Thomas Jones. Definitely a shout out to Thomas Jones.
That's cool. That's cool. So I'll go ahead. I think I asked Bridget this time. Ernest, what did you think of Hampton, the force out of Virginia?
Yeah. Um, they they had some moments that I really enjoyed, and then they had some moments that I didn't enjoy as much. But they put on a solid presentation overall. So I'll give you an example of something I didn't like is when whenever they did their core marching, to me, it came off as if they weren't really true to the style. They was just kind of walking from place to place. It wasn't as effective as when A&T does it or when Central used to do it. The fidelity to the style wasn't as, I guess, committed, and it just seemed like they just were just going through the motions. And then at certain parts of their show, when they changed the style to traditional, some people still weren't lifting their legs up, so they looked like they still were doing the core attempt at marching. And I notated that doing certain places during my analysis that I'll talk about. So if you read up on that, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But it was the marching with them that I found some things I didn't like too much. But overall, sound wise, they did a pretty decent job sound wise. On the ballad, I think I made a note about that. Um, uh, I like I think they played "I Ain't Mad at You," Tupac,
Yeah.
and yeah, that was dope and well executed. So there, I mentioned something I liked, and I mentioned something I didn't like too much. So that ballad was fire, man. They came in with a strong introduction, and they showed their musicality by backing off and then giving some good phrasing throughout. There were no holes in the parts. So you heard sound the entire time. Percussion section wasn't back there beating down the sound. You could actually hear all the parts. So you can tell that the band is being worked and they're being rehearsed in rehearsals. And I appreciated that.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Bridget, what did you think about Hampton? Because it sounds like I think we're on the same page. What did you think about Hampton's performance?
I actually really liked Hampton. He's moving to, so I really like that hybrid. I
I
like
do
the
too.
hybrid
I
style.
do too.
I really like it. I think it's different. It's switching up the game. Auntie, we know Auntie started it, but it's really switching up the game, and I really, really liked it. Now, let me tell you, I was hard on Hampton a little bit. One, because, they used to listen to me, I used to play them, da, da, da. But I had to give them their props. So they incorporated a lot of DCI elements into their show. That opened, and I was just like,
Yes.
oh, come through Hampton. Now, I'm going to tell you, Ernest, I'm not an expert on core style because I never came through a core style program. So I don't know. It looked good to me. That's all I'm going to say. Looked good to me. But the people who are the experts on it, I'll take your word on it because that's not my area of expertise. But it looked good. I saw what he was doing. I was like, oh, I feel like I'm about to watch a Cavaliers performance and then go into the
Right.
march.
Right.
Shout out to their percussion section. Man, they smoke. Well, we saw a couple percussion features, but Hampton's percussion section is solid. I love tonals anyway, but they were solid. I thought they sound good. I thought the band played well. You could tell they were there to sell it. They were there to sell that show. And I thought overall they did a good job. The ending, I love. I love when their bands do that company front, that push forward company
Oh
front.
yeah.
I absolutely love it. And, Hampton always, their tradition is that HU fanfare. I think it's called HU fanfare. I don't know. Y'all can correct
Yeah.
me. I'm not a Hampton person. But they used to open up the show with that marching out. He ended the show with it, and I thought it was different. I liked it.
Mhm.
I liked it a lot. Overall, I actually enjoyed Hampton's performance. They were constantly moving, constantly drilling, but it wasn't too much. Some things in Honda was a little bit overdone, but I didn't think it was too much. He switched up the auxiliary game. I like when Auntie switched to just Golden Light doing everything. I was like,
Right.
yes. It's hard to get color guard. But Hamptons, if you watch Hamptons, because I like, let me go back and watch Hampton shows again. For me, they had one of the most memorable shows, but their color guard even did some great work. Dancers sometimes was a little bit over the top. So let me back off. Let me go to the other side a little bit. What got on my nerves, I was like, if they don't sit down somewhere in the six, that's the stuff y'all don't see on camera. And so they leave out and they go change into like church outfits and dresses. Like they had the little furs and came in like showy. It was a little bit showy, but y'all do y'all thing. I can't even hate on that like that. But shout out to Thomas Jones is putting in work. I got to give it. I can't take that from the brother.
Yeah,
He's putting in work in Hampton.
Oh
This
yeah.
is, and I'm going to say, so I've been watching Hampton. First time I saw Hampton was probably like 94. First time I saw it, and I was like, ooh, that's the biggest, sorriest band I've ever seen in my life. That was my exact words. My exact words. They was in CIAA and they were sorry. And so then the next year, Morgan played them because they was making their way to the MEAC. And I was like, they brought a little bit of heat, but I still was like, this is the best Hampton I've seen. This is, to me, sound wise, I think they sound good. They're marching well. The direction he's taking them in is, to me, is really outstanding. I have to give credit when credit is due, but I really do like the direction Hampton is going in. It kind of, that's, when it's like one of your rivals, you be like, oh, I don't want to say it, but I don't really want to say it. But you got to say it. You got to give credit where credit is due. So shout out to Thomas Jones, his staff. Even their trip to Rome, if you haven't seen the pictures, them pictures are fire from that Rome trip, and they represent it well. And they're taking on the arrogance. I'm going to say the arrogance of Thomas Jones because he has a little quirk about himself. The band is taking it, and I actually love it because they're bringing about an attitude of excellence that you can really see. So I really actually enjoy Hampton's performance a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to. This is another hot take. This is hot take number one. Earlier when I asked about the director, that was more of a question, but this is definitely a hot take. All right. I'm a little worried for the rivalry with Hampton, and with A&T, Norfolk, that little section over there. I felt like.
Why are you worried?
Say what now?
I said, why you worried? We want to hear that.
I'm worried because I feel like Hampton is coming for y'all. On the low, like on the low a little bit. Okay. So this is the thing. See, Thomas was already at A&T. All right.
Mm-hmm.
He wants his band to be the best now. Okay. He already gotten the numbers. Pretty soon, Hampton might start shooting fires over there at A&T, and it's like, A&T, did you see this? It's like, and then pretty soon we're gonna be having an argument like, well, Hampton is actually better than A&T this year. Like, we might be having that conversation. You know what I'm saying?
I don't doubt it.
I mean,
that's going to be a conversation because it was a conversation you can kind of already a little bit start having that conversation.
A little bit because
a little bit,
like what you said, Bridget,
and then
you stole my fire a little bit. I was gonna say I think that's probably the best I've seen Hampton. Like they're going somewhere. Like they got a direction. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I feel like they're gonna start kind of like coming for people's heads a little bit, maybe indirectly. But I don't know, A&T. Y'all might need it. I don't know, A&T.
But you know what? If you listen to the arrangements and you see how the drill is designed and how it all incorporates together, Hampton and A&T, in my opinion, is doing Norfolk style. So it's Norfolk style that they're trying to perfect. Because if you watch
think it is, but I agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah. All the side marching, keeping the bells to the front, all the backwards march. I mean, Norfolk has that stuff on lock. I mean, A&T and A&T and Hampton, they're getting good at it. But it's Norfolk style.
It's definitely a spin on Norfolk, and every time I see the new, I still call it the new A&T style. I always say that when they're, when they're doing that to the front, you're right, the marching style. But Norfolk got it. You're right, they have it locked down. But every time I see it, I'd be like, that's a little bit. It looks a bit Norfolk-ish. I can definitely
Mm-hmm.
agree with you. And Norfolk, this I'm
Yep.
looking at. So there's two comments in the chat room. Somebody said Norfolk set the bar extremely high. Absolutely.
Yep. Yep.
And then this is super villain DW. He says that the rivalry between A&T and Hampton is going to happen just based on the relationship. Absolutely.
Right.
And that's one thing I was going to highlight because he came from there. It's naturally
Right.
going to be, everybody want to get back. Think about here I go about football. Nick Saban, all the people, all them coaches that came from him, they want to come back and beat Bama.
That's right.
That's just the nature of the beast. I agree. And then Sean had a comment. He says, "We hope Hampton comes to us. The MEAC need that energy. Well, they're not MEAC anymore, but okay. But plus, H used to be good in Thomas era, I guess. This is Sean Harrison. And he
Yes,
also
I
says
have.
HU percussion is ran by Cold Steel alumni. So that's interesting
Uh-oh.
to know. Thank you, Sean. We appreciate you. We appreciate you giving that clarity. They sounded good though, but Norfolk they got that, and Norfolk got that tonal drum thing down. Like
Oh yeah.
it's hard to meet.
Yeah.
It's hard to beat the $1 Million Funk Squad. They are on.
Yeah.
They are solid. They sound amazing. So I actually, now that you say that, Ernest, I agree with you. I definitely agree with you on that.
Well, they're definitely incorporating. That's what I noticed. They're incorporating the stuff that we seen over there. It's the first time it's starting to kind of mesh, like at Hampton. Like you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like this is like we starting to see Hampton kind of have that little mix of that, a little baby. Was
Yeah.
it
You
like
know what?
Norfolk and a little
Yeah.
baby? You know what I'm saying? A little.
It,
So
yeah.
USC,
I call it
USC.
that little Virginia band
right,
style
right,
because if you
right.
look at all the high school bands, they look like that. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? like they all perform like all the black ones.
Right.
They perform like Norfolk or like Hampton is performing now. So
But
to me, it was just
is
like just go ahead.
I'm sorry. Isn't that's true in most areas though? Like if you go down to the
Yeah.
Baton Rouge area, all the bands are like Southern. Like I think
Right.
it's a real thing because one, you have to realize probably they're feeding the directors are coming from that program, and so you do what you
Right.
know. So I kind of agree with that. But the other part of it, I remember maybe 2 years ago, I saw a battle between USC and somebody, and I saw USC, and I was like, oh, that's Norfolk. Norfolk looked just like them. So, and then somebody said Norfolk
Wow.
didn't invent any of that. That's absolutely true. If you watch USC, Norfolk was like
Oh
the
yeah.
spitting image of USC, the Trojan band. So,
Oh
we
yeah.
all get stuff from somewhere. And that's what makes you great. If you get a program, you're gonna look at like, oh, I like this from I like this from
Yes.
A&T, I like that. And then you create your
Yeah.
own, you take and create your own thing. But that's how, that's just the world that we live in. That's how things get better. Inventions get better because you see something like, I like that, but we can make this better by doing
That's
So
the
there's
first
it's
thing I
actually nothing
learned.
wrong with that.
Yeah. Good teachers steal. That's the first thing I learned. So
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely, you see something that's working and it's effective, you better steal it. And incorporate it in what you're doing.
I totally
I know.
agree. What'd you say, Ernest?
Do you agree, Joe?
Well, I was gonna say, man, I was gonna say I totally agree because Bridget was like, when you go to certain areas of the country, the bands sound the same. Because when you go to Mississippi, they all sound like Jackson State. They they
You
don't
a,
sound like Alcorn.
you a
In fact,
hot mess.
in fact,
You being a hot
Alcorn
mess.
I knew he was gonna pick it up.
Alcorn try to sound like Jackson State in our region. So I mean, you know what I'm saying? You are so right, man.
We're not. We're
I
not doing this with you
I
today.
am so. I mean, we agree. I mean, we agree when we had the conversation. We agree. You know what I'm saying? Uh, so that's
We're
what's
not
up.
doing this. We're not gonna do. We're not doing this with you tonight.
All right, y'all. But for real, bro, I totally agree. I'm happy for Hampton. I'm happy for Rashad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because he ain't never. The years we did the show, there wasn't never a time when he came out like, man, did you see us? Like he wasn't never coming out like when we do with Hampton, it would be like a side conversation, like you know what I'm saying. But I feel like
Right.
they're going somewhere. So
Yeah.
shout out to him for what they're doing. But yeah, I would love to see those bands have a good rivalry. I just don't know the logistics about them being in a different conference now. Like, does that affect stuff? How does that go? Why don't we just put Tennessee State and Hampton in a portal conference right now till we figure out what happens? Or you can keep their athletics on the other side and just let the band compete with the HBCUs. Maybe that's what it like. The football team go off, y'all can do whatever the hell y'all want, but the band each weekend go to like a swag spot or like
You know what?
that would be dope. You know what I'm saying?
I fear that the same thing that happens with Tennessee State is going to happen with Hampton. And what it is that you always see Tennessee State, you respect them as a great band program, and they're always solid, but yet nobody ever pays them any attention. Like, nobody ever acknowledges them at all. you know.
I
But,
agree. I agree with you.
Yeah, Rodney Chisholm, we chopped it up with him. He's a good friend of the show. That was one of the things that he said there because he transferred. Remember, he marched at Tennessee State first, and then he went to UAPU. But that was one of the factors that he said. I mean, he actually marching in the band, and it's like ain't nobody here at the games. Like the rivalry
mhm.
wasn't the same, and then you
Right.
get crunk for the Southern Heritage Classic, or maybe TS or maybe Fam here or there. So even
Hmm.
I mean, that made him one of the reasons why I made him transfer. So that's
Hmm.
definitely something to be brought up. But yeah, I'm just proud of their performance, and I think that they're looking good.
That's
Um,
an interesting. That's an interesting take. I'm looking at Garrett's comment. That's an interesting take. He said he disagrees with Ernest just based because Hampton has a media team that does an amazing job, and that's good because he's a media guy, so he's gonna see it differently. I can kind of see that. He's like Tennessee State really doesn't have a really good media team, and let me tell you, the media people are making it happen. They're making
That's
bands
true.
and stuff a little more relevant, and we didn't have it in our era. We didn't have we got a little VHS at the end of the game. We got to go
Hmm.
watch that. But you're absolutely right, Gary. I do kind of, I definitely can kind of see that. But on the other side of it too, Hampton, he made sure he had his band signed up for everything they could be in to give them
Hmm.
kids a great experience. They go
right.
into Rome next year. I think they're going to either Rose Bowl or one of the parades. Like he's doing things to kind of attract kids there, and that's what you have to have that energy to kind of keep it going because it is tough when you plan little Tawana school out of somebody. Nobody knows
Hmm.
who they are. So your school ain't coming to the game, and nobody who knows they are, and there's no band rivalry. That does make it a little challenging. But Garrett, I actually agree with you.
Also, too, you have to give them something to piggyback on what you just said, Bridget. Hampton, the tuition there is about $20,000 per credit hour.
I heard it
So
was
the
Wow.
38 a year. So isn't it 38 a year, something like that? I heard it's
I
like
know it's
38 a year.
expensive. I know it's
Somebody tell
expensive.
us how much it costs to go to Hampton.
Hey, I just know it's expensive. That's all I
Jesus.
know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something off the hook. So again, and I know that was one of the things Mr. Gray always talked about at Smith. He was like, man, it costs so much money here. I mean, it's so I'm happy that I saw that. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of my main thing. I thought they had a good show. I thought they had a good drill, and I thought that
Hmm.
they sounded good. Like they're on the way somewhere. But my hot take is, we want to see a bloodbath between Hampton, Norfolk, and A&T. That's what we want. Bloodbath. Go take yourselves out. You know what I'm saying? We want to
Joe,
see it.
Joe Garrett said that cost 40,000 a year to go that. He said that Thomas Jones said that when he was at Southwest Account recruiting, that was $40,000 a year to go there. That's a lot of money, folks.
Oh
Mm.
Lord, and they be messing up on our loans, y'all. All right, let me use. I don't even want to go there. I'll start getting mad. But yeah, 40,000, and you got that output out there. That's a thumbs up. All right. So shout out to you. Yeah, my brother said, yeah, I did say 20,000 per credit hour. I was trying to exaggerate, but I don't think Ernest and Bridget they picked it up. But yeah, 20,000. I was trying to go over. I was just trying to say it was expensive, brother. Uh, so that's what's up, y'all. All right. So what was the next? What was the next band? After Hampton,
Was it
Was it either Tennessee or Grambling? Was it Grambling?
we could talk
It
about
was either
it
Grambling.
Grambling
was
or Tennessee State. It was either Grambling or Tennessee State.
Let's do
Yeah,
yeah,
Grambling. Let's do
I think it was
Grambling.
Graham. Hmm.
All right.
I'll
So
go with Grambling.
Grambling, I
That's a good
thought
answer.
I thought Grambling was underrated. Like I saw their show. I thought they had a great show. They were also more precise than I normally see Grambling. Like I don't never really say that. Like oh they drill so well. They actually drilled well, and um, I'm not sure. I saw they made Hutch at the beginning, so
Yeah,
I know it was Hutchison. Is I know that as a
yeah.
family.
It did a tribute to Conrad
Okay,
Hutchison. Mhm.
okay. So I saw that, and then they made a boat. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what was
So it's been
going
a
on with
cruise
that.
ship. Yeah.
Okay, See,
And I talked about that doing my little analysis where,
Long and right on a
yeah,
fantastic voice.
but
oh, see,
right,
that's what
but
I'm saying. That didn't
the
land.
announcer was a little late, so at first the crowd was like, "What is that?" And then he mentioned a cruise ship just as they were transitioning out to go to another formation. So the crowd kind of went over their heads.
Yeah,
But if you're looking at it on a video, you probably get it because you're probably high up and you probably can just sit there and analyze it for a while. And okay, this is a cruise ship. But in the moment of a performance, yeah, it kind of went over everybody's head.
yeah, it went over my head, Ernest, and I was here watching it.
I only got it because I went back and watched the video. It went over my head too. I went back and watched. I went back and watched the video, and I was like, "Oh, Fantastic Voice is a cruise ship." Because I remember I was sitting next to Garrett, and he was like, "What's that?" He was like, "I don't know." We both was like,
Yep.
But it was a lot. It was a lot of that throughout the show. A lot of people showed.
It was a lot of that. Somebody was
That.
bad with it.
Okay,
Yes.
but and then the sound in the dome is so they got to figure out the sound. I could not understand what any of the announcers was saying. They got to figure out the sound, and that made it harder. It made it so much harder because then you're like, what do you say? What they say? So it made it harder. But when I went back and watched Showtime web footage, I was like, oh, I get it. Fantastic Voyage of the Cruise Ship. You were able to put it together. But shout out to Dr. Robot. We gotta give her a shout out. Let me tell you, when they played that slow tune, our whole suite was like, "I'm just such." Everybody broke out and was singing. Her song selection, I really like the song selection, the direction Grambling is going, and they were able to kind of defeat some of the sound issues that happen in the dome. Like you have to be really clean and crisp in that dome. You can't do that hangover and whatever. And they maybe because Gary said it's stuff for me. Everybody hasn't figured that out. Maybe they've played in the dome enough to figure it out, but I can actually see the clarity for Grambling. They made them be a standout for me because the clarity was really good for them. But Dr. Robot doing some work, and they're playing music. That's the biggest thing. Like, I'm sorry, I'm older. I don't get the rap stuff. I don't know the songs. So the fact that she's pulling good music, some good classics, and the same thing happened at the Bayou Classic. We was like, girl, you better come through with the real music. Like she had some good choices. So yeah, that's the Grambling. I think they're a busybody band, so though they dance a little bit too much for me. But
That's what I talked about.
I was like, if you don't sit your, I felt like you know how you do with your children. That's what I felt like saying with them at some point. Like, sit your tail still.
Well, I was gonna
I don't think I had seen them in a long time, but this seeing them perform at the Honda, I was like, wow, they dance a lot. I mean, they really dance a lot. Well, they dance throughout the whole show. And this is my little two cents right quick. They were a two-headed beast to me because when I compare this Grambling to all the other Grambling bands I've seen and seen video footage of, this one is the best one I've seen. Like I like the direction she's going in. A lot of good things. I can actually understand what they play now. Especially doing the drill. I used to not know what they was doing during the drill. But I can actually understand what they're playing. They don't have the horns going all which way in crazy directions, and destroying the sound. So there's some clarity. They had a good show with the Conrad Hutchinson tribute. They did really good drilling. Like their formations were on point. Their lines are straight. They had the basics covered. Like they were well rehearsed and well prepared for this performance. Now, what I didn't like is doing the ballad. They were dancing while they were playing the slow song. So I was like, hold on now. This is supposed to be when you're going to show everybody that, okay, this is our true sound. This is what we sound like. This is the cohesive sound that we prepare and rehearse daily. And it still seemed to be one up by the dancing. Like they're focusing more on the dancing component. So they missed the opportunity, whereas everyone else took advantage of that opportunity to sit there and play, and wow the crowd with their sound. So and Grambling missed that one. They still sounded decent. You know, they didn't not, they're not like they sounded bad, but for instance, during their ballad, they didn't have any dynamic contrast. It remained the same volume the whole time. Whereas every other band were displaying those basic musicianship skills of crescendo, phrasing, stretching the notes across the bar, you know, letting this voice appear above the sound to highlight this verse, then bringing the sound up together, you know, those elemental things that they didn't display at all. All they did was just play like they were playing a drill, really. And I think that was a missed opportunity considering how good they sound this year. You know, I would love to hear them play a ballad for real. You know, I heard it. I heard some clips of them at the what is that that classic with Southern that
Bayou Classic.
yeah, the Bayou. I was real impressed with some of that stuff, but they didn't display that musicianship at the Honda, in my opinion.
Well, that was tough. Cause you guys have highlighted something that I've talked about, and people in the chat room are saying it. I guess it's just Grambling against the world with this. Bridget said, "Oh, the ballad was good and they sounded good," and I was gonna say, Bridget, think about how it would have sounded if they stood they behind still and played to the crowd. That's what I was wondering. How great
I
that would have been.
agree.
And
So
Bridget called them
don't.
a circus.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, Bridget called them a circus. Just so everybody knows. And the more and more you think,
No, don't do
think
that
that they're
to me,
gonna
General.
like, hey,
No, do not do that to me.
Bridget
That
put
is
us on
not what
point.
I said.
Bridget put us on point. We should fix this. But no, they haven't done that yet. I'm sure it's in the drawing board. And I'm sure there's like a huge fight in the band room and they say, hey, no, we got to keep dancing. And then there's people like, no, we got to stop. So we're going to let Grambling handle it. But for the rest of us, stop it. Okay? Real quick. Somebody said it here in the chat room. A Major Pain. Brother, this is what I had to write down. If you go to Grambling, you got to learn one halftime show that consists of the drill, the dance after the drill, the dance feature dance, the
Yeah,
dance before the dance routine, and then the dance routine. Y'all off the hook, Graham. I gotta get around the applause. Y'all do more in 1 week than all of us do in an entire year. I bet y'all could split one of y'all shows and it could be like you could do the
for
whole
real,
season. Like you could split
for
it into
real.
3 parts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Cause
they put in some work.
they dancing a lot, and I'm like, those are different moves. They not just going side to side.
Right,
They doing
right.
like the temptation step. They swinging and they throwing their hands up. Like, yo, Grambling, you off the hook. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I gotta give it to you.
And then the formation they're in, like doing their dance feature, the formation they're in, they're spread out all over the field, right?
Right.
And then and then the girls are dancing up front, and then everybody else is dancing. So it's like you got to pick what you're gonna look at. Are you gonna look down here, or are you gonna look way over there and see that those clarinets over there dancing? You know?
That's right.
So that's what. Let me clarify because he said I called them a circus. Joe, stop it. That's not what I said in essence. So I said somebody said that's how Hutch trained them to never stand still, and then I said, well, that's what kind of killed Ringling Brothers. That's why they gone. So this is what I'm saying. So when you went to, you know how you go to. No, I'm gonna clarify because y'all be giving me a bad reputation. I can have people out in the streets thinking I'm being mean. So listen to me. So as a kid, we went to Ringling Brothers Circus, right? And it was always called the Three Ring
Right.
Circus. But like you just said, Ernest, we didn't know what to look at. And so we were like,
Right.
oh, look at this, look at this, look at this. It was like, okay, but it was too much going on. But then here comes the Big
Right.
Top Circus with one big act going on. Now let's
Uh-huh.
see who's still. Now Big Top Circus are still kicking and killing it because they changed up the game. So I'm not necessarily calling you a circus, but what I'm saying is it is overstimulating to the eye. We don't know what to really
Yeah.
look at, and it is okay to. Okay, we understand Hutch trained you this way, but we're going to sit still this time for the ballot or whatever. That's what I'm saying. I'm not calling Grambling a circus. I like Grambling. Don't do that.
Right.
To me.
Well,
Don't do that.
I'm just
I'm
saying,
just
man.
comparatively
We were
saying.
trying to help though. But you were trying to help him. That's all I was saying. You was just like, yo, this is just like the circus. If I was one of those parents or one of the dancer girls, I wouldn't send my child to Gremlin, because ain't nobody gonna be looking at my damn
Good.
child. They gonna be looking at
Oh,
them damn tubas. They gotta
so
spend
the
all that
one
money
time
for
they
dance
should,
classes.
the one time they should stand still is when Orcus is dancing. Like, let them have their
Yeah,
moment. Like, I was like, it is dancing behind Orcus, and then the drum majors they doing all this. I'm like, oh my
yep.
gosh, like, yeah, yeah, that
That's
is
what
a
I
bit much.
said. It, and it's unfair to the girls because when you're at a battle of the bands where everybody's being compared to everybody, their girls kind of get overlooked, because the band they're competing against the band
That's right.
for
The
attention.
the band
True.
and the bass drum. They competing
Right.
against the band and the bass drum. Cause ain't nobody gonna upstage that bass drum. Let me tell you, we talking about all the dancing, but we ain't even gonna talk about the bass drum, because that bass drum gonna be there for the next 400 years. You know what I'm saying? They ain't playing around with that one. But
You got that right.
yes, that was the main thing. I'm like, and I know that's them, and they ain't gonna change it. But I was
Yeah,
wondering if the new band director, if she was gonna, I'm wondering if she's gonna change something. That's kind of
I,
what
I
I'm
talked
waiting to
I
see.
talked about that before in an article that a lot of times new band directors don't have the power, especially if you're not an alumnus. Well, it works both ways. Even if you are an alumnus, you don't have the power to make any significant change because the reason why you are in place is because you are an alumnus and we want to keep this the way it is. And
Right.
if you're coming from the outside and you're not an alumnus, they're watching your every move, every little thing you do that's not Grambling. They're like, no, no, we don't want to do that.
Yeah,
Because they're
it's
afraid.
gonna take
Right.
time.
Yeah, it's going to take time for her to be able to make that change. Like I spoke to Sarge one time about this when he first got to South Carolina State, and uh, people were the band members at the time. This was in the '70s. They were like, "No, hell no, we're not listening to anything he got to say. We're not doing nothing." So he said for the whole first season, he pretty much didn't do anything. He let the band do what it was doing, and then every now and then he would pass out an arrangement, and then they heard the sound, and then they were like, "Oh, wait a minute, this is different." And slowly but surely, he was able to implement things that he wanted to do because he had won them over with the sound. And I think that's going to be her experience. She definitely has changed their sound for the better,
Yeah,
and she's
absolutely.
yeah. So she's going to be gradually, I think, making small changes until it's her band and her vision of what she wants it to represent. Right now, bruh, yeah,
and and they had a good show, and I mean they had a
they
good
had a
show
great
other
show.
than what
Had a
we, I
great
mean,
show.
what we talking about. Like, one of the things I
Right.
liked that they did, they had like a little spot right at the end of their show where they kind of like posed. Everybody kind of like did their own thing for like a couple seconds, and then they ran into the gram. They ran into the gram word. So like I thought that was cool. But I have to say, and I'm just gonna go ahead and give a round of applause right now. But every time, and I mean every time we talk about Gremlin, I don't know what it is, but they might have one of the dopest outros in HBCU band history. And I'm talking about when they, GS, I mean, let me tell you, the whole state of Louisiana, you can hear them when they, whoa, 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 like everybody know it. You know what I'm saying? And I mean they love that GSU, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. So I get excited when they do it. You know what I'm saying? So I liked how they ended their show. They posed for a second, they ran into the gram, and then they, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I like that. So I was really
Joe
thumbs up on
Joe
Grambling.
Garrett said not the whole state. Jared
Oh, that's
Jared
right.
said not the whole state.
That's right, Garrett.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, them Southern people there, they don't like that. They don't like that
Yeah.
Grambling. You know what I'm saying? I'm just playing. I'm just playing. But yeah, another good performance. Grambling's better. She's doing her
yeah.
thing. Grambling's better. Grambling's on
Yeah.
their way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um.
Agreed. Uh,
All right.
Who was next, y'all?
Let's knock out the last commercial break before we do the
Okay.
rest. Have we talked about four bands yet? Talk about Grambling,
That was
Hampton, and Benedict.
great.
We got well. Let's do one more. Let's do one more
One
for the commercial break.
Tennessee State, maybe.
Yeah, let's do
Tennessee State
Tennessee
was.
State.
Yeah, I gotta look at the chat room because I can't remember the order.
Yeah, so Tennessee State went next. And believe it or not, they were kind of like proclaimed. I saw online as like the winner, so to speak.
What?
I saw most people in the chat room saying that they thought that Tennessee State won the competition, like in the chat room. And
Well, you know
then
what? Go
Kevin
ahead.
has posted on his poll who do you think, Kevin Poteet, who you think won on on Facebook, and Tennessee State has the most votes.
Well, you know what?
Wow.
Like me and one of my partners was talking about this at one point. I think Adrian, but the Honda always had this thing with the dome, whereas in, your small bands are up first, and then the bands gradually get bigger, right? And
Right.
somewhere around about the middle of the evening, it's going to be that first band that's going to come through. They got them horses, and they're going to light the whole dome on fire. This is when they put them horns up, and everybody's going to go crazy. That's what happened with Tennessee State Saturday.
Yes. Yes.
Because
Agreed.
when they came, it was a difference in sound as compared to the other bands that came before them.
Wow,
So
interesting.
so it's not necessarily that they were the best band. Maybe they were the best band so far.
Okay,
You know.
okay. And I did like they visually look good, like the red
Mhm.
and blue. It looked really
Oh
good
yeah.
from the video. Like their
Yeah.
uniforms, and
Yeah.
then like
Oh
when they
yeah.
turned the red, so they look
The
good.
flash cape flashes. Yeah, the cape.
Yeah,
They did well with the cape flash. The cape flashes
Yeah.
worked out for them really well.
they did. They did. I didn't really care for their drill so much, and it wasn't as precise. Like it wasn't really appeasing to the eye per se. And then they got into the AOB. They formed the AOB. I just thought
Hmm.
that was like basic, and like it was AOB and a line under it, and I was like, you know. But there
Yeah.
wasn't anything that jumped out to me about their show. I'm glad you
But
gave that intake about their sound,
yeah.
but their
And then
show, I wasn't nothing like that jumped out to me about it.
I think they made some bad choices in song selection too. Because like they chose this song for the drill that was like this old Quincy Jones side B track that you got to be a serious Quincy Jones fan to have heard this song before, and, and no one knew what they were playing. So that added to the boringness of their drill, and then added to that is Tennessee State is one of those bands that they don't march. You know what I mean? Like they don't lift their knees up very high when they drill. You know, I've always known that about them. Grambling is the same way. They just don't lift their knees up that high. They have like maybe a 35-degree inch marching style, when they're marching. They march real fast. So they're kind of focusing on the speed as opposed to getting the knees up. MEAC bands kind of slow it down, get your knees up, and march a little slower, But that's one thing that I thought that negatively affected their show Saturday is that first of all, it was really fast doing the drill.
Yep.
No one knew the song, so it was just like, all right, let's get this over with, and that's what I got from it. I wasn't really impressed with their drill at all. I was impressed with the On Bended Knee, the concert selection, the ballad. That was dope. But
Yeah, it sounded good. That sounded good.
yeah, but the drill, I wasn't. I'm like, okay, next.
Right. That's exactly what I felt. Like I just didn't
Yeah.
see.
Now they were loud. So in Atlanta, they love that volume. They want to see a
Yeah.
big band turn it up.
So let me ask y'all because I didn't know what it was. They made a formation and it had the word no in it. Do
No,
y'all?
it
Yeah,
says. Oh, I don't know what that is. Oh, I
I
don't
don't
know
know
what
what
that
yeah,
that
was.
was.
I know what you're talking about.
yeah.
I don't either.
It's something the kids say now. No cap. Like no cap. Like no joke, man. For real, for real, for real. So they put a
Oh,
yeah. They
word.
put a cap. They put a cap on the field, and in the middle of it was no.
Oh,
Yeah. See, I didn't
Yeah.
know what that
what
was.
does that mean? What does no cap mean? I'm sorry.
Like
I'm showing my
seriously.
age. I have no idea.
Like yeah, it means like no cap, no cap. Like seriously, listen to what I'm saying. I'm being serious at the moment. That's what it means.
Well,
So
It
hold
was
up, Bridget.
terrible.
Well,
That
Bridget,
was
we
terrible.
old,
That was
but you
terrible.
know we used to
That
say
was terrible.
cap
What'd
back
you
in the
say?
day. We used to say cap back in the day, Bridget. Like with the old
Right,
folks. I remember someone saying,
right,
"Oh, he's capping on him,"
right,
like,
right, right.
and it was
That's exactly
somebody
where it
down
came from.
south. It was somebody
That's where
down
it came
south.
from.
They was like,
That's where
"Oh,
it
they
came.
capping" or something like that. So yeah, I've heard that phrase before. It's just been a
Uh
long time, and I ain't been
Wow.
down south in so long. Like so no
huh.
cap. That's tight. No
Yeah.
cap. No, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I didn't get that I didn't get that at all. I was confused. I was like, what are they talking? What is this? I was so lost. And I went back and watched their show. So for me, so I'm gonna say this. Um, Band size don't matter. This is probably the smaller Tennessee State band that I've seen. Like I was surprised, I was a little shocked. I was like, oh, Tennessee State numbers are really low. Not that it really matter, but they're a little smaller. But for me, Tennessee State, oh gosh, somebody's gonna come me for saying this. They're forgettable. Like I couldn't remember what their show was. I went back and watched it twice to remember what they did. I was like, oh, they did like a vote and a checkbox, but I
Right,
couldn't. Like
right.
they're so, and every time they perform, Cookman is like that to me. Cookman is predictable and they're kind of forgettable too. But oh goodness, I'm sorry to even say it like that. But Tennessee State, and I like Dr. McDonald, I really do. I think he's a great teacher. They really did sound nice. They sounded good. But I had the hardest time remembering. I was like, now what they do again? Like they don't have anything like a wow. They didn't have any wow moments for
Wow.
me.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
to me, they don't have like a true. They don't have a true identity. I don't know who
yeah.
they. I don't know what they look like or who they are or what you like. I don't get. I don't get their branding. I don't get Tennessee State much at all. Like you said, I like the cake flashes. You know, they were drilling, they were playing. They came out the box kind of loud. But like
Hmm.
y'all know, loud necessarily don't do it for me. So everybody who's, you know, when people oh they won because they was the loudest, and I agree with you, Ernest. I think they were the first one that kind of opened up that realm of sound, but that doesn't make
Hmm.
them the best. But to me,
Right.
they just weren't really memorable, and it wasn't like they did a bad job. I'm not saying that, but they just I got really like to be quite honest, we were talking in the booth during their show, so I had to go back and watch it because I was like, oh, what they do? I had to go back, and
Right.
like at that time a whole bunch of people came through, so we talking, and I just didn't remember, so I had to go back. So I watched that show literally twice, and I still was kind of like, okay, that's okay. But it just wasn't. It wasn't really a memorable performance. It wasn't a bad performance. It just wasn't like, oh, like I'm gonna remember Hampton's performance because I'm gonna
Hmm.
remember Auntie's performance. I'm gonna remember Benedict's because they left me with something. Like even if it's
Right.
the hot and lit the light, like ooh yay, I got something out
Right.
of it. But
Right.
for me, Tennessee State, this is just my Bridget's personal opinion. They didn't leave me with a whole lot. You know, that's just me though.
Shout out to the chat room. They are basically like we old. Because they said somebody said
Dorothy has
that
a whole. She has a whole four names
sh-
on there and call somebody old. Girl, sit down.
and she and,
Yeah, we old.
yeah,
Hush.
and they
Bed.
basically were
Yeah, I'm old.
saying
I admit it.
somebody from Jackson State recognized it, and Jackson State came for him. And then Brandon Johnson said, "Watch it." But if that's the scary movie, brother, I can't do scary movies, so I'm probably I don't know. I'm scared of those. And then Nikisha Williams, I don't know, is that Nikisha Williams, the girl that's in geography? If that is you, say hello. Shout out to you. GIS is the bomb. Geography is the bomb. But yeah, I don't know if that's her or not. But yeah, but shout out to the folks in the chat room. They definitely giving us some insight, and a good number of people have been watching today. So thanks again for that. But yeah, no cap. They said the JSU announcer recognized it, and he actually said something when JSU was on the field. So way to go.
Mhm.
We you know what I'm saying as much we can get against Tennessee State. You know that's always what we looking for. Um, but yeah, I agree with you guys. There wasn't anything that jumped out, but that was the main thing where people in the chat and a lot of people were like, oh, Tennessee State had the best show. Me myself, I don't see it. There was nothing that came out other than
Yeah,
I remember
I
like
didn't get
the
that.
uniform flashes, the red and blue. That was the only thing that I remembered about Tennessee State. And then the AOB being like lackluster. But shout out to y'all about the no cap, no cap. Word. Like we used to say word back in the day. Like,
I'm
where?
gonna go ask my students. I'm like, what? I'm gonna ask my students that tomorrow. What does no cap mean? I'm gonna see if they know.
No
Yeah.
cap.
I'm
Yeah.
serious. I'm lost. And that
Oh, they know.
Dorothy laughing at me. Thank you for showing. Yes, I am showing my age.
No cap, no
Yeah.
lie, or something. So no whatever. I got it. I got it. I'm gonna try to start using that this week. Know what I'm saying? All right, y'all. Let's do the last little commercial round, and then we talk about some of the heavy hitters, because we definitely wanted to talk about these schools. And shout out to
Yeah.
the great Reverend Dr. Christy Rosa Walker Parks. Let me give her a round of applause.
Hey, Dr. Christie.
I have no idea if she is in the chat room, but I did have a joke. A&T was the only band that jumped out to me and was doing stuff with the lights on their show, and I was tripping because I was like, man, they done let Christy Walker hit the light switch for A&T show. They done let her play with the lights for A&T show. So that was Christy flickering the lights. A&T was
Leave
out there doing
Christie
something.
alone.
But she ain't on here, so I can say that. You know what I'm
Nah,
saying?
Joe. There's actually a couple bands that was playing with the lights, man.
I saw that, but A&T was the one that made me think that Christy was doing it. Because it looked like
Yeah, they
Christy
had
was just
a whole.
excited in the
And she
chat
had
room
a
hitting
whole
the
bunch
light.
of extra lights.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. All right, so let's talk about that when we get back. Let's push out the last commercials, including Bridget's favorite. Bridget's favorite, Smokey O's barbecue. The dude might get on your nerves, but the barbecue is off the hook. Off the hook barbecue in Dallas. Go check it out. Round of applause.
Smokey
Bridget is hilarious. All right, y'all. All right, we'll be back after this commercial break. Listen to the 90 Degree Show. Thanks for listening.
Your host, Joe Beard, and the 90 Degree Show will return in a moment.
Hello, everyone. This is Joe Beard from the Marching Podcast. Is your school, club, or organization looking for high quality decorated apparel to outfit your students, staff, club, or team? Tired of the same old boring white t shirt? Are you in charge of the upcoming fundraiser or special event, but don't really have time to troll the internet for ideas or compare products? SAY can help with design and product selection. We can even assist with ideas on conducting an effective fundraising program. SAY can help you save time and get your message heard. So call 1 800 975 3156. SAY Marketing and Promotions.
Give your brand a voice.
If you're thinking about buying or selling real estate in the Southern California area, please contact Kevin Peete of Remax Patriots. He will meet and exceed all of your needs. You can contact Kevin at 951 858 5942. That's 951 858 5942. Or you can email Kevin at kpsaleshomes@sbcglobal.net. That's KP, his initials, Kevin Peete, KP Sales Homes, all one word, at sbcglobal.net. Thanks again.
You want the best barbecue around? Smokey O's coming to your town. Ribs, chopped beef, baked potatoes too. Smokey O's know what's good for you. You want the best barbecue around? Smokey O's coming to your town. Ribs, chopped beef, baked potatoes too. Smokey O's know what's good for you. Smokey O's. Come check us out.
Hey guys, it's comedian Ira Coleman, also known as Bam Bam, and you're listening to the Marching Podcast Radio Network.
This is Curtis from 80minutesofregulation.com. From referees whistle to drum majors whistle and back, your source for sports and marching and athletic music. You're listening to the 90 Degree Show on the Marching Podcast Network.
And now, more of the 90 Degree Show with your host, Joe Beard.
All right, we're back. Go ahead and unmute your microphones, and we'll land out the show after we talk about these last four. We paid all the bills. So we'll talk about these last 4 bands and then we close out the show. All right. So let's go ahead. I was kind of leaving a little teaser there. Let's go with NCAT, North Carolina A&T. You can't tell nobody who went to this school nothing right now. They like red hot. They said they got the hottest HBCU in the country right now. Like they football team, they won the championship last year. This year they got second place. So shout out to second place for the national championship for North Carolina A&T. Florida A&M won the championship, and then they
And
said they won it, and then
wait,
on it.
hold up. That was a shared championship. It was co-winners.
Co-winners, my bad.
The South Carolina State University was the other winner. Hold on.
The Bulldogs was in part of that championship now, so we had to
That's
put it out
right.
there. But we at least wanted to let A&T know that we are excited about all the things y'all are doing, but fam beat y'all this year. But they did. You know what I'm saying? They did. So I mean,
I disagree. I disagree.
And see, and that's why Bridget is on the show, because Bridget does not like A&T. But you see right there, she was trying to
don't
like
do that to me.
No, I'm just saying.
Oh my God. So, all right. So I disagree. Let me tell you why I disagree. So, first of all, Morgan beat them, so yay. But anyway, and we beat their undefeated basketball team too this year. Morgan can't beat nobody, but we can beat A&T. So shout out to Morgan State University.
There you go, Morgan.
we don't beat anybody. But this is what I disagree. If I'm running a race and I cross the finish line first, but I crossed the line and got out my lane, then I am disqualified. FAMU was disqualified this year, so they cannot be the championship. So I'm okay saying South Carolina State and A&T shares it, but FAMU, if you have violations, you didn't run the race correctly. You had violations, so that's why I'm saying I disagree.
FAM said they don't care because FAM is the greatest historically black college institution in the galaxy, and that's what they said. So they said that they believe that. They believe, and they're better than us anyway. So you know what I'm saying? We just trying to. I mean, this your world, fam. You know what I'm saying? So
they're better than us. They won the Sutler Trophy, so they're better than us.
There you go. All right. So real quick, let's talk about.
I'm playing.
The good blue and gold marching machine.
Hey, let's hit it.
So they had a decent. Well, they always have a good halftime show. One thing that jumped out at me about A&T, they're just solid. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're just solid. We already talked about the hybrid style. I love the hybrid style. They had the contrast on, like you said, Ernest, they would go like core style and then they go traditional, like back and forth. I enjoyed that. They did the smoke well. So they had a smoke machine. So did Prairie View A&M. Real quick, Johnson C. Smith story. This is one of the things where I felt like I'm probably going to transfer and I should not be back here this year. We had a homecoming performance, and I remember the morning of, Mr. Gray said, hey, we're going to have smoke come out on the field while you guys are out there. We were so excited. Like, we were like, oh, my God. Are you serious? So part of our breakdown was, girl, you got that bomb, blah, 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 with the dog pound and snooping them. You know that song. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. So we playing the song, and we dancing, and Mr. Gray and two other dudes came out on the field with some fire hydrants and just started spraying with the fire hydrants. Man, my parents, and my father was upset that I was at Johnson C. Smith. Let me tell you, that price tag, and he done marched all his years in the boom to see his son go march at Johnson Smith. Boy, they were like, what the hell was that? And we was like, Dad, that was smoke. We had smoke. That was dope. Yeah, and he was like, man, if you don't get me out of here. So, yeah, the smoke machine, super dope, A&T. You guys know how to do a group presentation. They also had the running banner over the band at the end. Y'all saw that? I thought that was pretty dope.
Yep.
But they just had another complete show. Like it
Yep.
wasn't too many holes and nothing. The only part I wasn't that's what I wanted to highlight. Um, when they did the drum feature, I don't really like those. I don't really care for those. And if this is one of the hot takes, Bridget, I want to tell you about. If you decide
Hmm.
to do a drum show, you are running a risk. You're rolling the dice. If it's unsuccessful, you get 2 point deduction for the following week. For the band,
Oh God.
you get 2 points taken off the fifth quarter already. If you have a successful drum part in your show, then you add a point to the fifth quarter in the next game. I'm still working out the bugs on it, but I'm telling you,
Yeah,
Bridget,
we working on Joe. Y'all
we
pray for him. We working on him.
I'm
We working on.
telling you,
We gonna get him together for next year because we
cause
don't know what he's talking about. We gonna get him together for y'all.
some of
Mama
those
Bear,
drum
Mama Bear, get
features,
your son tonight. Get your son.
I'm trying to tell you, some of them drum features are like super whack. And then if I play trumpet or two, what the hell am I supposed to be doing? I'm on a knee, and y'all out here messing up. You know what I'm saying? Get that out of here. Honda Battle of the Bands,
Oh
okay?
man,
You guys are walking the line with them drum shows. You
I
have been
say the
put on
same thing,
notice.
Joe.
They
I,
kind of whack, yo. That's all I'm saying.
it's, it's a
Yeah.
block of time. It's a block of time. It's time management. If you go over a certain amount of time, and with me, my attention is real short when it comes to percussion features. I'm
Right.
like, I'm giving you 32 counts.
Right.
Get it all in about 32, maybe. Going over the 64 counts, doing more than that, you're gonna lose your audience. Like
Yeah.
they're gonna tune out because it's just beating the drum. It's just okay. All right, what else? You know. So I mean, come on, man. You gotta manage that time right. So a lot of bands who did that drum feature this weekend, a lot of them went too long.
They did.
I think Prairie
Fairview.
View
Them
went
and
too long.
Fairview. Yes.
Yep,
So, but I
Yes.
do
yep,
want to give them. I do
yep.
want to give A&T credit because it wasn't just about the drums. Like it was a mix with the trumpet player. So you
Yeah,
had like two people like intertwining. So how they
yep,
did that, they get the thumbs up. But
yeah.
when we
I was
Really?
gonna say that too.
so
The
so like it wasn't just the drums out there, Bridget. Like they out there, they wasn't just
right.
out there flipping on each other. It would be like a trumpet player and like a drum player, and they were like interacting with each other. You know what I'm saying? And they were
That's
actually playing.
okay.
They were actually playing. So I thought that was cool. Versus when we see bands that we're gonna talk about later that have these student routines and they go out in front of the band. It's stop it. I'm getting ahead of myself. If I don't, you guys got to stop the student routines where the students get out there and they do their own little thing.
Oh
Oh
God.
Super whack.
yeah, I hate that.
Super whack.
I hate that.
Super whack.
Well,
I feel like this is a Kanye West moment. I'm gonna let you finish, but I feel like this is one
I
of the
know
moments.
I'm just
that.
saying, man. It's whack.
I I didn't like the trumpet thing. Okay, so let me start with. I feel like this is teacher conference. Like you got to start with the good, then go to the bad. So we were on the home side. So A&T was the first band that had the open up sound that turned to us. The people on the other side got to Tennessee State first, but A&T was first. When A&T turned to us, let me tell you something. A&T band sounds good. I got to give credit where credit due. They sounded really, really, really good. Like I was just like, oh shoot, I gotta admit they sound good. A&T sounded good. They got that drilling thing, that hybrid thing down. Their show is good. Their show is outstanding,
Hmm.
but the drum stuff was too much. I personally didn't like the drum thing. And then when they mixed the trumpet, I was like, what y'all doing? It was too much. It was too much with the trumpet thing. And then when the trumpet players put their foot on the snare drum, like as a band director, I flipped out. Get your
Oh
damn foot
yeah,
off that drum. It's the first thing
yeah.
that came out of my mouth. Like I flipped out. I couldn't take it. I was like, ooh, I can't take the drum thing. And honestly, if I'm honest, I like A&T's band. I do. I think
Hmm.
show planning, I think they got show planning down to a science. I would love to just sit in as a quiet observer to learn, honestly, to learn how they do show design and like how the conversation goes. Because you can tell everything meshes together. You can tell they're not like, oh, dancers, you dancing to Shake Your Booty
Right.
today and
Whatever.
walk.
Right.
Yeah. You can tell that show planning, they got that thing down. And that's where Thomas Jones kind of get that because he was a part of that process. And it's funny when A&T come up, I was like, ooh, Hampton Part 2. They was like, no, they're A&T Part 2. I was like, oh, okay, then. Like I was in there cutting up. But I got to give credit where credit is due. A&T doing the daggone thing. They had a great show.
Yes,
I thought they had a
did.
great show. The drum thing almost lost it for me. I was about to check out, but they brought it back together. Golden
Yeah.
Delight is amazing. I like Golden Delight.
Yes.
I love that whole combination thing. Like, there's no other way in the world at this point I would have a band with flags and then dances. No, y'all gotta learn how to do both because y'all doing too much. Like, really, I really like that. But they really did sound good. And they really did a nice job. So shout out to A&T's band. They really you want to hate on A&T so bad because they just on top.
Yeah.
You know, they just on top of everything. You like, can y'all show fall apart just because y'all A&T? We tired of hearing about y'all, but no, they're just doing really some amazing things. So I like the work that they're putting out there. The drum thing was too much, but everything else was good.
Yeah, we on the same page. I thought they had another good show. I wanted to see more of a theme kind of, and I guess they did. I guess they did have a theme somewhat, but normally, like when you see, like when they did the one thing, I think that homecoming show. I can't remember. They've done a lot of memorable shows, as
Mm-hmm.
far as with themes, and I thought they were gonna do more with that. I thought they were gonna do more like make sure you vote because Trump is off the hook, and then they would be just doing all of this stuff that you be seeing Donald Trump do. Like I thought they were gonna do more
Well,
visual something. You know what I'm saying? But
but
they
you know
still
what?
had a good.
That.
They had a good
I,
solid show.
I
You know
think
what
it
I
was
mean?
either the last time they were there or the time before that, where they did like they went overboard with the thematics, and it took away from their presentation. Like they were too much drama, too much
Oh, okay.
acting and props and all kinds of stuff. So I think this was their scaled back version on purpose because they
Okay.
learned their lesson last time. They're like, all right, with this crowd in Atlanta, this ain't gonna work.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I thought it was good. I mean, I thought they
yeah,
had a good show. And yeah, definitely one of the better ones of the night.
yeah.
Shout out to somebody in the chat room says, oh, Sean Harrison. He said, you think the director turnaround was a gimmick, but you marched for Duncan C. Gray. He's the king of podium answers. Round of applause, brother. Man, I used to be scared
Sean
of
on it
Mr.
tonight.
Gray.
Sean on it tonight.
I thought that he was gonna fall off that ladder a couple times.
Boy,
But
Gray
hey,
will run up that ladder so fast, boy.
let me tell you something. Mr. Gray is in shape too. A couple
Yeah,
times
I
he
can
would
tell.
tell, he was like, "Yeah, y'all gonna do this, and y'all need to beat me." I remember one time he had the band race, and he said whoever got down there first or whatever, like he won. Mr. Gray was out in front of the whole. Mr. Gray rolled on the whole band, yo. Mr.
What?
Gray, like 60-some years old, probably 50. I don't know how he was in '96. Mr. Gray rolled on the whole band, yo. And I mean, I was like, wow, I cannot. So Mr. Gray in shape. He doing all that stuff, run up and down that ladder. He know what he doing. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So yeah, shout out to Mr. Gray, man. It was good times, good times. Uh, yeah. So I think we all are on the same page with A&T. We expected
Yeah,
them to do well, and they did.
they did.
But yes, Bridget makes a good point about they just do a really good job of putting together those halftime shows. That's definitely their
Really nice.
wheelhouse. They do a
Mm-hmm.
good job. So shout out to Christy. I know she was nervous. She put it on Facebook talking about she was talking. She didn't really see the show. I was like, yes, you did,
She really
Christy.
was. No, she really was talking. She really
Okay.
was.
Okay.
She was in the book because she was behind me and she was standing back. We was like, Christy, they did a good job. She was like, oh really? He was like, oh, she wasn't really watching. Yeah, she really was. She was
Yeah.
talking. She was being the hostess. She was the hostess. She was being the sweet hostess. And people were coming in and out, so she definitely wasn't really watching.
Well, I
But
appreciate that,
Auntie did a good
Bridget.
job.
I appreciate that, Bridget, because it felt like she was just a little nervous about how they was gonna do. So she was like, "I ain't gonna look. Y'all
Oh.
tell me about it afterwards." You know what I'm saying? Go on,
When is
Christy.
A&T ever like that? They're gonna be arrogant before they're gonna
You make a
be
good
nervous
point.
about stuff.
Right.
You're
They
right.
are. They're like them. A&T and FAMU both are like that. Before they get nervous,
Yeah.
they're gonna be arrogant about it and come back later with something else. So, anywho, who on Jackson State? Is Jackson State next?
Let's see. Yeah, I guess we can go to. Well, I was gonna go to Fam next. But
Oh, who was next? I don't remember what order. Was
I
Fam
don't
next?
know. I don't.
No,
I
Fam
don't
was.
know.
It was Jackson State, fam, then Prairie View, right?
All right, we can talk about the boom then.
Yeah.
The boom, another great drill. I'm always happy to see my boys because I know they're gonna do an outstanding drill. I don't know what's gonna happen after the drill. You know what I'm saying? But I know that part of the show is gonna be good. We did blowing, which is always a personal favorite of mine. Our intro, and we had a drill, pretty intricate drill that we executed pretty well. Wasn't as clean as it probably could have been, but I thought it was more of a difficult drill than I had seen throughout the night, and they
Yeah.
executed.
Yeah. I was pleasantly surprised that they tried a new drill and they
Yes,
did it well.
yes.
So
So
I
way
was
to
pleased.
go. Not sure about the 6 drum majors and the 3 J sets.
Yeah.
Shout out to the J sets. I don't know what's going on. But I mean, damn. So the fact they keep putting them out
Not
there,
damn.
I mean, I don't know. They keep putting them out there, and it's just like I don't know. And then I saw somebody in the chat room. You guys, I don't mean to jump ahead, but you guys remember Prairie View? They did their little show, and they had like some women walk the red carpet or something like that. You guys remember that in Prairie View show? Somebody in the chat room said those were the J sets. They said the J sets,
Oh
Really?
my
yeah.
god.
They said the J sets was helping out the storm in their halftime show. But yeah,
Uh,
I'm not sure about that. I don't. I honestly didn't like. I just wish they didn't have the J sets there. I love you J sets, but I don't know what's going on. I don't want to see 3 of y'all. And then the fact that
and
people laid into us from at Southern, like we just had 3 J sets and people done like we can't hear the end of it. Just like go on, just
Right.
cancel it for the year. You know what I'm saying? What you say, Bridget?
I was gonna say, as a band director, I see the point that they're trying to make. I agree. I don't think. I think at this point, with all the mess that they have, I would have just been like, we're not gonna have J sets for this. But the point that you're making, if you're having a problem in your band, like Hazen, you have to say that the show will go on with or without you.
Right.
So I
Right.
think they're trying to make, as directors, they're trying to make a statement like, regardless, we're gonna do this. If it's 3 of you or if it's 100 of you, so that next year they can really think about it. So I understand why they did it. Just for us, it's kind of like 3 of them,
Right.
and they're not even like your boss 3. They're not even like the
Right.
fire 3. Like just 3 normal chicks. Like, whew. So for us, yeah, I agree. No, really, for us, I'm like, yeah, why y'all put them out there, expose them? But as a director, I wholeheartedly understand it
Yeah.
because my band director side, like, no, y'all 3 asses getting out there, y'all going to dance
Yep.
like it's 50.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I understand that part of it. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
And the 6 drum majors, it took me a minute to figure out the 6 drum majors thing until they took the hats off. And I was like, oh, so they had the maces, they had the maces down. You know, they do J5 or whatever. They've been marching 4 or 5 all season. Was
what?
it 4?
I
Have they been
don't.
marching
I think it
4?
was
That's what I'm saying,
4. I
Bridget.
think
That's what I'm
it's been
saying.
4.
It's been
Right.
like 4 or 5
But
months.
they're called J5. Right. They're usually 5, but they've been marching 4 all season. But they brought back 2 of their senior, like they brought back Duffy. Abraham Duffy was head drum major the last like 3 or 4 years. And so he had on the other head uniform with the guy who's been head all year. So they brought back 2. Duffy's still in school. So they brought him back. I don't know why they did it. I don't get it. They brought the reunion, but they look good. They look good. They definitely need the J sets with them. They did their daggone thing, but they brought them back, and everybody was confused. Like, why y'all bring 6 back? But hey, I like Abraham Duffy. I thought he was a good drum major. So shout out to Duffy. He was doing this thing like he been marching all season. That brother was on it. So I say shout out to him. I ain't
Yeah.
mad at them all. They it up. Drum majors look good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they did. And then Jackson State then did some things like where they had ATL written in
Yeah.
cursive, and
Now,
then it was like JSU on the top.
Mandarin.
I couldn't see it.
yeah.
It was Mandarin Chinese. It was Mandarin. It was
What?
Mandarin.
All right. So, okay. That's a
Yeah.
joke.
Yeah.
Good joke,
When they
Bridget.
try to do the script writing or whatever. No,
Yeah,
that
man.
was a fail.
Y'all should have took a picture of that first and had somebody like that. Cause I halfway be nervous about
Yeah.
the boom when we don't think. I was like, you can't mess up, and you got to make sure that everything lands properly. Like you can't come out here and mess up because you don't know the scrutiny that we under. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that I was disappointed. Like I
And then
didn't want to see that.
the 3D JSU with the band members dropping and
Yeah,
the other ones
see, that was the other thing.
oh, come on.
That's like, come on, man. We gotta have we gotta have some layers in this organization. Like,
Right.
run that up the flag
Right.
first. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Have some
Somebody
old
got to stop
heads.
that idea. Yeah,
Yeah,
somebody got to be like, no, 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 that's a
yeah.
bad
Cause,
idea.
cause I went back like 3 or 4 times to try to see it, and I'm in on a computer, so I wouldn't have been able to see it if I was there. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, "Come on,
I
Boone."
was there, bro, and I didn't see it.
Yeah. See, that's something. That's something that you do against all corn. Y'all practice that against
Oh
all
my
corn.
God! Don't do that to Alcorn. Don't do that to Alcorn.
You know, cause
Don't do that to Alcorn.
everybody trying to, So yeah. So other than that, that was fine. And then again, this is another hot take. I need to come up with a graphic for my hot takes, Bridget. My hot take is the student routines. Like I said already, we got
Yeah.
to do something with
Oh
these. Okay. So the ones I didn't like because they seemed like they weren't all on the same page and all of what they were
no, and
dancing.
they fell.
And then the dude, they flipped him over, and
And
it
he
was like,
fell.
oh no, the
Yep.
the the,
You
the
felt.
math looks wrong in that one. And then he hit the ground real hard, and then tried to come back and play it off and hit the splits. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you can't mess up now because you will be like an internet or you'll be a meme. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Exactly.
Kevin and them and the uncut people, when you like, you'll see something on that page. So we have to be careful about what we put out there. Stop the student stuff. You can let Southern do it because I feel like that's their thing, and they got a lot of light skinned Creole black people down there that it'll look cool to do.
What?
But nah,
Don't do
man,
that.
we have got to stop the
Don't do that.
dancing.
Don't do that.
No. Well, I mean, you
I was about to agree with you, Joe. I was about to agree with you until you went to the light skin Creole thing. Don't you dare do that to them. But I agree with you. The first thing I thought about, I'm gonna leave that alone because you're wrong. But the first thing I thought about when I saw the student thing, I was like, oh, that's real Southern-ish. It was real, and it didn't work. Like it didn't work for Southern when they did it last time. It didn't work for
All
them
right.
either. Like it didn't. It wasn't good. And I was just like, and they didn't need that. I need to know. I need the bands who are traditionally our really good bands to know you don't need that gimmicky stuff because you're good. Just stand on your own words. Like you don't need the quote gimmicky stuff because then we're lost too. Like I was like, so why they do that? I don't get why they doing this. Like it was so. It didn't fit. It didn't fit to me.
So
No.
real quick, let me clear this up. The Creole folks, when they come out in front of the band, so people who ain't in the SWAT, maybe they not know, but they'll always say, "Oh, let the white boy go," like the white boy. Not, a lot of times they don't be white. Now in the last couple of years, some of them people are there's some actual white boys actually out there dancing in the band. I noticed, but the Creole thing was that it was the white guy in Southern's band and he coming out to dance and he was supposed to get house. All right, but that was a gimmick because it was like he's supposed to be white, but he was Creole. So I wasn't trying
Well,
to offend
I
nobody.
never knew that some of them weren't white. I didn't know that.
Nah, man,
That's
they were
interesting.
just
Okay.
real light skinned, just like what's that Eve's Bayou movie? You know what I'm saying? Y'all
Oh,
see?
no wonder they had rhythm like that. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Ernest, you taking his word? You taking his word for? Ernest sitting here taking his word
I
for it.
was
I don't believe
Bridget.
it. I'm not believing it. I need to see a birth certificate. I ain't believing it.
I,
Just
I
sitting here taking his
swear.
word for like,
Bridget
oh,
say she needs receipts, Joe.
I swear,
I need
Bridget.
give me receipts. You need to believe in him.
Hold on,
He's
where
talking
Garrett
about
at?
light skinned Creole folks.
Where Garrett? See,
That was
Garrett ain't in
wrong.
there. I'm telling you, Southern.
Oh
That was
God.
what they were known for. Or either like when someone come out there and say, "Hey, let's dance for the big girls," and then the big girls come out and dance in front of the band. That was the lights. That was the Creole dudes, and they were like, "Oh, it's the white boy. Oh, go white boy, go white boy." So that's what I'm
Oh.
saying. That's all I'm saying, Bridget. For real talk.
I'm
That's
not
real.
doing this first, sir.
But
I need to see receipts.
my point is that I don't like those no more. Like I don't like when like 8 people from the band come out and it's like, hey, you guys practice your own dance routine, and then the rest of the band play and you guys dance. They need to, I don't like that. So that's another infraction, Bridget. If you go out there with a dance and it's whack,
Uh,
or if they fall, just like what happened, you lose points the next following week in the fifth quarter. And I hate to say Jackson State, they got an infraction at the Honda this year. It pains me to say it. But stop it.
Next band. Look, next band. She cutting up. You
So is
lost
that
me. Light skin
everybody?
Creole folks just took me out. I'm ready to talk about FAMU. You took me out with light skin
Nah,
Creole
come on.
folks. I'm done. I'm not doing
I'm
this
serious.
today, Joe.
But it's a swag thing, man. I'm telling you, just like I'm telling you, man.
I'm not doing this with you tonight. I need to see birth certificates or hush. Like,
See, Garrett ain't in
no.
here, but he'll tell you. He'll tell you for real. All right. So is that everybody? Everybody got cool with
Bam.
JSU? Everybody cool with JSU?
Yeah, I'm cool.
Florida A&M, they sounded good, but what's up with the stick figures? This is another hot take, Bridget. We might have to stop having the stick figures. I don't like how they look, Bridget. It's approaching whackness, and let's be real. I want to ask you guys a good question. Was that dope that the stick figure lit the apple or whatever it was, and it was lit, and then it blew up to the area code thing? Was that tight? Did y'all like that?
Well,
I didn't. I wasn't really understanding what it was supposed to be. So somebody had to explain
yeah.
that to me.
Well, it was a
I
little
was watching
bomb.
it.
It was a little
It's
bomb.
supposed to be, yeah, it's supposed to turn into the highway sign, Highway 285
Yeah,
in Atlanta,
but it was
which is the
like
big loop around the city.
yeah,
Everybody, yeah.
and it blew up like it was like a bomb, and they had the fuse going through it, and it blew, and then it turned to 285. I just think it was
You
whack.
know how I think that happened. You know how I think that happened. I think they were saying in planning committee that, all right, we have to find some way to pander to the Atlanta audience, and they were going to do the bomb anyway because they were playing that lit song that everybody played.
Right.
But they were like, oh, well, why don't we turn it to 285? That's like an Atlanta, landmark. Everybody know about that. So I think they were pandering when they tried that. It went over my head too. I'm like, okay, how is a bomb going to turn into a road sign? Yeah, okay, you lost me.
I just don't like the
I
stick
thought the stick
figures.
figure was. I thought a stick figure was eating an apple. I had no idea. I thought it was an apple. So I looked lost. I was done. I was like, is that an apple? He eating an apple? I was like, why the apple? What's going on here? I was
That's what I'm
so
saying.
confused. I was like, they make an apple pie? I didn't know what they was doing.
And
They lost me, but
and
hey.
that's developing though, cause like it's like, hey, we're seeing fam, make these strides to do this stuff, but they've been missing the mark a lot. I'm just kind of being honest about like. I don't like stick figures. Somebody in the chat room talked about Ohio State. I don't like it when Ohio State does the stick figures. Like,
But they do the hell out of it. They do the hell out of it. They do it. They do well. They do it well.
So maybe they can have that.
They gonna have that thing marching. They made a whole Michael Jackson do a backslide across the field. If you're gonna do a stick figure, go watch Ohio State.
Hold up.
Really,
Hold up now.
Do it.
It
They
was,
know how to do it.
He was moonwalking. He wasn't backsliding. See, that's that church lingo coming out, Bridget. He was moonwalking, not backsliding.
Right. He was moonwalking. Okay, whatever. Shut up.
You know what I'm talking about? Joe, you backslide.
Backslide.
What time I said it, I was like, oh, moonwalking. I was like, they're not gonna catch it. I'm just keep going.
I
Okay, I received it. I definitely said backsliding. Yeah, he was moonwalking. You're right. So here we go. Good and bad. Let's do that good and bad thing. FAMU, when I tell you they sound good, the ballot sounded really great. And it's so funny. I'm watching some FAMU posts. They were talking about the piccolo section. They have probably one of the best piccolo sections. And the piccolos, trumpets. They was pushing them trumpets more. Like I was like, oh, that mercy sound. When I tell you it was amazing, I was like, come through piccolos.
Yeah.
So all the ones they talk about, they need to be section of the year. Shoot, I agree with you. So I really enjoyed. Six figure thing was a fail for me. And then their dance routines always be like, well, they doing like whole aerobic routines, but it was okay. My issue with FAM is they do self-serving shows. How like this is us, and it's stuff that you have to be like. If you have somebody next to you from family who can translate it, then you're good. But if not, you be like, what's y'all doing? Like here comes the piccolo. You're just like, so who cares? But it's self-serving. It's like we're great and we're awesome and look at us, and it doesn't do it. That's my issue with FAMU. It's the arrogance of FAMU to think that anybody cares about that. No, we want to be entertained by a great show. We don't care about your piccolos, your whales, your whoever you have, your clones, all them people, whatever. And I'm calling them being petty. But I was kind of like you spent the whole last end of your show doing that outtake thing. Like they lost me with that outtake. I like Dr. Chipman as a person, but there has been a shift since Dr. White has been gone. That's kind of been like, I haven't really felt them quite as much. You haven't really felt them quite as much. But I tell you that the self-serving thing, and then I know family people, well, we're FAMU, we're great, we're Sutler Trophy. Okay, whatever. We don't care. Honestly, we don't. And when you're in the band world and you really don't, like, look at our saxophones, look at this, and they're doing the little poses and stuff, that doesn't impress me. I'm not impressed. Like, really, your ballad's very impressive. You're playing on the field, but they do that they do that little rattle thing, and like they think people are impressed by that. That day is over. Like, for me, that's my opinion. And it's not that I dislike them. You understand that I think it's one of the best playing bands. Not that I dislike them, but I need them to get out of when they get rid of that thought about themselves. A&T was like that for a while too, and then A&T figured it out. When they get rid of that self-serving thing, they will be really back on top. Like, just like FAMU's back. I'm like, nah, I don't think so. That's just me.
I liked the thing I liked about Fam, and I was gonna say this joke before we had let go, but Ernest Sean Harrison, I'm gonna go ahead and hide behind you, Sean. Sean said that FAMU brought back Nelson Mandela. So we had to look for something.
They had to
Shout out
go to the stick
they had
man.
to,
Okay.
and it's so funny because somebody else told me. He said, "Man, every time somebody make a stick figure, they gonna say Nelson Mandela, and they gonna say South
Every
Carolina State."
time.
I'm sorry.
Every time, man. They drug us in the uncut group for like 2 months off of that.
2 months. But I'm telling you, for all the people that don't know, there was a year when
Oh,
South Carolina State at the Honda
it was
said
at the
that,
Atlanta Classic, I
all
think.
right, but they said that it was Nelson Mandela and it was a huge
Yeah,
stick figure, and then he did something that was
yeah.
hilarious. But I'm sorry, the best South Carolina State performance to me was the year they did Empire at Honda.
No, that was
Oh
terrible.
God.
That was
Oh
terrible.
God.
That
Yes,
joint was
Don't
terrible.
remind
That
me.
joint was
Don't remind me.
terrible.
Lucius and Cookie got out in front of the band and was dancing. Oh,
They
so
had him on the throne and
had him
all
on
that.
the throne.
Okay, Lord.
Hey, that was tight. That was tight. I was like, yeah.
No,
So I've been a South Carolina State fan ever since, my brother. You know
that
what I'm
was
saying?
horrible. That was absolutely horrible.
So shout out to you, Sean. I
That,
noticed that too. I was gonna say that I had wrote the little joke down. That was a little joke, but I couldn't say it at the last second. But yeah, I guess just overall, and I give it to you, Ernest, about Fam. Um,
yeah.
they sound good. They're clean, and they sound good. And I'm happy to see that they got the numbers. It's just the animations that they're doing. It's like after the fact, it sounds dope that they did it, but the execution hadn't been there. Like there was another time they did like a Ferris wheel, and
Hmm.
like you could see it, but
Yeah.
it just
Yeah.
didn't. It
We
wasn't
couldn't
tight.
see. We
It wasn't.
couldn't.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that was. We
Yeah.
couldn't see it in the. We were like, "What's that?" That was one of them. What's that? I don't know. Then they said, "Oh, the Atlanta Ferris wheel." It was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay."
yeah. And then the heart for the mayor, they did the mayor. The heart was
Yeah.
crooked. Come
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
fam. You know what I'm saying? Like they just don't drill well, and I don't know if it's because they got so many people, but they just don't drill well. And like their animate, they got to clean something up. But they
They
sound
don't.
No.
good.
They don't
Yeah.
drill. You that
Yeah.
follow the.
Right. They don't use precision drilling, so they don't use squad based drill like everyone else. So their lines, if they're not very meticulous about it, will get wavy and will get sloppy.
Yeah.
It's 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 the same thing that DCI groups do. They do picture drills. That's what FAM does. All they do is create a picture on the field and then transition to another one. You know, but if you're not transitioning using precision, meaning your lines should mold and form another shape, as opposed to people just busting apart and then coming back together into another formation. I think once FAM changes that part of their drilling, they will be off the chain, man. If they take more of a DCI route with their drilling, meaning make those lines change into newer things without losing the line itself. You know,
You
um,
know.
uh,
Sorry. You know
go
what
ahead.
was funny to me? I said the same thing, Ernest. And then at one point, I thought they were going into squad drills for a second. I don't know if you remember that in the beginning part of that show. I was like, "Ooh, are they doing?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, this is." I was like, "Yes, this is a FAMU." And then they went back to the follow the leader, and I was just like,
Yep.
"Oh," I was a little
Yep.
disappointed. I agree with you.
Because that's a sloppy way to drill. You know, it looks sloppy. It looks not as precise as somebody doing the squad based drilling. You know, so I think they need to clean that part up.
Yep. Can I even be even more honest? And so I'm going to say this, and I know family people will be over me, but it's lazy drill designing too. That's very lazy drill design. It takes much more time to do. This person, number 21, is going to.
Right.
It's very. You have 20 counts or whatever counts. You got 24 counts to get to this formation and go follow your squad leader.
Exactly.
That's really lazy, really lazy drill designing. It's just like when we get to this whole, here we go, arrangers come for me. I know you're coming for me. Arrangers who do this whole, they'll write the first part of the song, then they'll do a tuba break, and then they just loop what they already did.
Right.
That's lazy arranging, and that's kind of where we are. It takes extreme patience to be a drill designer, to really make sure everybody's supposed to be in place where they're supposed to be, and it really takes some time. And yeah, if FAMU really fixes that part of it, for me, it'll be a much more enjoyable performance.
Mm-hmm.
So just to recap that real quick, and I'll let you speak on it, Ernest. Dante Kennedy in the chat room, he said something kind of interesting. He said FAMU plays on the idea that non-band people don't really know the truth. People are impressed band heads have grown up. All right, so he brings out something good, because definitely that arrogance is like, well, this is fam, this is what you do. They're like, oh, what is that? Well, this is something that you do in the marching band. This is what we do so great. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we know what's up, fam. Like the rest of the world has caught. We understand that you guys are like Jesus Christ. We understand that's how y'all the original. Y'all done started
in their minds. Yeah,
right,
in
y'all
their
done
minds.
started all of this. We get it. But the rest of the world is catching up to y'all. And I know that may not seem like for real, but y'all
and surpassing
and some surpassing, because I mean, so we love you, fam, because things ain't the same without you. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I agree now. Now, I would say that out of all the bands I saw on Saturday, and this is from an overall perspective, FAMU was the best marching band, in my opinion. Meaning that when I look across the field and I'm seeing all the band members getting their legs up, FAMU is getting them legs up. Like when, especially anytime they had a mark time in their drill. Oh man, it's like the whole field was moving.
Yeah,
you know, they was getting them legs up, and it looks good. And like people who aren't band heads who are sitting in the section beside me, they're like, oh look, they're marching. You know, like people, like to his point, people notice these things nowadays. You're like, like they don't know the terminology, they don't know the lingo, but they know when you're getting them legs up, as opposed to a band like Tennessee State that barely crack a 35-degree angle in their knees, and FAMU, and they're killing them 90s, killing it. Everybody, like the whole field is killing it. And kind of like, and I was going to, well, I'll talk about that later, but yeah, I was impressed with their marching. I was impressed, of course, with their musicality. They were, that ballad was clearly above anything else that was played there that day. Like, they put on a clinic when they played that ballad. Now, and I do think that FAMU, like our bands like to stick with tradition, and I think them not like by their flag corps being so small this year. They only had 3, Joe. They only had 3 flags out there, and I kind of I find myself wanting to see more out there when they're on the field. I want to see some color. I want to see, some auxiliary, something to add to all the good things they're doing musically, because you hear all these pretty moving lines and all these in that concert selection, and all you see is the flags doing that. Right.
That style flag snaps. it's not working as much. And I wonder is it has to do, so the conversation a lot of band directors were having is that second semester, which they're in now, they lose a lot of students. One, because of December graduations and kids who don't come back. So I'm wondering if that kind of impacted some of the numbers for Tennessee and FAMU. And I didn't think about that till I heard some of the band directors talking. I was like, oh, that's true. Second semester, some kids come for the fall and they're not back in school. You lose people for graduation and everything else. So that might have played a difference. I'm not sure.
I had never thought about that. Yeah, I never thought about that either. That's interesting. Yeah, you're right. I'm sure that affects it.
Yeah. I always say FAMU is more impressed with themselves than the world is impressed with them. They're like really impressed with themselves. And I say that because they're so impressed with their history, which they do have an amazing history, they're not making progress towards now. Like they'll quickly tell you about the Sutler Trophy. They'll tell you about this, but now you have to make your mark now. And I think they're still playing well, but they're so stuck on that old traditional stuff that they've done that we're now no longer impressed with. We've seen it a million times. I've seen the tubas run and then somebody jump over each other a million times, and now we don't care. So yeah, and I agree with Deontay. Like we're at this point, like we kind of know, and we're not impressed anymore. Do something else. We've done that before. So, and once again, I don't take away their playing from them. They can play, but we're kind of over that.
Shout out to Scarfing. I see you there in the chat room, man. Shout out to you, man. I was talking about what you were saying in the chat at the actual Honda with Showtime. So shout out to you for that. And I definitely totally agree with what you guys are saying. I remember I went to Fam Band Camp in '95, and they were definitely impressed. But I remember I would come in there and I would say, Jackson State is really good too, because that's where I was from, and they were like, like, oh my God, what in the hell did you say? What? Like they had no concept of any other band.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like South Carolina say, you like, okay, man, what I'm saying? We're gonna play FAM this year, we're gonna play A&T this year. Like these games are you circling your schedule. They had none. They were like, man, we are so far in front of everybody else, man. Like, and I was like, damn, y'all are off the hook up in here. But they believed it. You know what I'm saying? They believed it. And them people down there in Florida, they believe it too. You know what I'm saying? But I still don't think they had the best performance. Like you fam, and I think you guys brought in a lot of good topics about how the drill design may be lazy. If you are fam, there are no excuses. You talk and your announcer talk way too much to be ever messing up or for something to not look perfect from y'all. You know what I'm saying? So fam has a little bit of the Jordan rules. If we're continuing these hot takes, okay? Fam automatically says that they win and they be blowing people out. I have implemented the fam rules where if you mess up a smidget, you get a point taken off the next week in your fifth quarter battle.
A smidget.
Because you fam. So that Ferris wheel, point on that Ferris wheel. That Nelson Mandela, point. That's 2 points. So they're -2 going into the following week. Round of applause. That's how we got to do it. We got to be the guardians here. That's what the podcast is all about. All right, y'all.
And on that note, Prairie View.
Prairie View, yes.
Look, so you all know if I start echoing my earpiece, I've been traveling. I came off the plane and ran right here. My earbuds done died, so hopefully y'all can still hear me. I had to put them up. I heard that my earbuds died. So
yeah, we can still.
You're good. Yeah.
Okay.
So Prairie View, real quick, what I thought about Prairie View, other than Miles, who has one of the dope. Shout out to Brother Snipes. Miles has one of the dopest intros in HBCU band history.
Yeah.
Or currently right now with Neck. I love how they come on the field with Neck. Let me tell you something. Prairie View and that Entertainment Tonight. Boy,
I like it. I like it.
Man, I love how they come. I like how fam comes in too. Like and they play the like they didn't do that. They should have. But I
They should
really,
have.
they should have.
Hmm.
But I really, really like Prairie View and them coming in with that Entertainment Tonight. Only thing I don't like about the PVU, it's very similar to the BCU. It's just what like way too basic. Y'all got all them people on the field. I think you could get more creative with your brand, or you could get creative with the letters that you put out there. I didn't like the PVU because it just looks way too basic. That and the BCU with Bethune, I think they could do more with that. It's kind of bland. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
they try to go sideline to sideline. Try to, it's so big, like I think if they made it a little smaller and then made it like double block letters, that'll be dope.
Or have like a
You know?
line going. I mean, they gotta have something. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And let me ask you guys because I wasn't sure. Was that ladies' night that they spelled? Is that what
yeah.
that
Yeah.
was? So why was the Y so little? Why? Like why did it look
It was
like that?
the
That was
IES.
horrible.
Wasn't it like an IES? Was it a Y or was it an IES? I thought it was
It's
LADIE.
IES.
Okay,
Yeah,
It's
it's IES.
IE
so
apostrophe S.
that probably makes the reason why the Y look funny because I guess you don't spell ladies with a Y. My bad. My bad, Prairie View. I done messed up. So okay, so that makes sense. So it didn't look like a Y, so it's an I. So my bad.
Yeah, IE.
However, y'all still came with the red carpet and the three sisters walked too. They walked by too fast. I don't know. I
I
didn't
missed,
know what was going on with that part.
I missed that. I missed that. They didn't play to my
Yeah,
side, and on the video, I didn't notice that, so I don't know what you're talking about there.
yeah.
Yeah,
I missed that too, Joe.
cause
What
it was
happened?
like cause it was 5 seconds. Like they said it
Wow.
was ladies' night, and they had a red carpet. So on the bottom left of the screen, what you do, you see these guys flip out this red carpet real fast, and it was
Yeah.
three girls walk the red carpet like like they walking into the Oscars or something. And it was supposed to be
Uh,
like for ladies' night, but they did it so fast that it didn't land. And y'all was there and y'all didn't even see it.
yeah.
You know what
I
I'm
didn't even
saying?
notice
So
They
it.
didn't.
so
They didn't play to my side, so we couldn't see it from that. So I didn't. I couldn't see that angle.
yeah, so that's why somebody in the chat room said that the J sets were actually helping out Prairie View because they said it was three girls that walked. They said, oh, there go the J sets right there. So somebody said that. I thought that was funny. But that part it was a little it didn't land. The other part that made me jump out about this performance, about everybody else, the majority of the bands play with dynamics. Like
Yeah,
everybody, most
yeah.
of the people play. Prairie View, however, did not. Like
Go,
they
go
had a
ahead,
couple.
Joe. I see your music terminology
It's
now.
getting
Go ahead.
better. That's what I'm saying. If you play the song for me and I hear it a couple times, then I'll be able to. You know what I'm saying? I'll be able to pull it back. But straight up though, like Prairie View,
Yeah,
like there was a song. I guess I'm going down with Mary J. Blige.
yeah.
They were rushing it. Like the tempo was too fast. And
Mm.
then like when she comes in, what's that time on my hands? Like they didn't do anything with the dynamics. They just came in
Right.
time on my hands. Like
I
they
agree.
came in real
It'd
hard
have
with
been
it.
so sweeter if they'd have just played with it a little bit,
Yeah.
you
So they
know.
seemed like they was like too amped up or something. Like they was too swackish. They was way too crunk. You know what
No,
I'm
but
saying?
what I think they knew they were the last band and people were tired. I think they were trying to keep the energy and the momentum going. Because let me tell you, by the time they came up, we kind of was like, and then they had a long show. They had a long show.
Yeah, yeah,
So I think it looked like they were trying to keep the momentum. And then their announcer was talking way too much. Good gosh.
yeah. She was.
Way too much. But I think they were trying to keep the momentum, and in that they still kind of lost a bit. They lost some, but it seemed like they were just trying to keep the momentum because it's hard. It's hard to be the last band. It really is because people tired. Like, okay, we've seen band now for 2-3 hours. We're over it. So that's what it felt like it was. But it just, it was. I thought Perry's performance was pretty good. It was just long. Like by then I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I think I'm ready to go. And it was long. And then the drummers did way too much.
Thank
And then
you.
they like
Way
did
too much.
like a lot. And then the dances came out like last season. By the time the dances came out, I was like, oh, y'all ain't dance yet? Like I was
Yeah.
like, ooh, it was a lot. It was a lot.
And did you guys see when they were throwing the bass drums at each other and catching them?
Yep, yep.
Okay.
Throwing the bass
See,
drums.
see, that's an infraction. First of all, you're already out there in front of the band, so you're walking the line with these damn drum shows. Okay,
Yeah.
now I mean, I was like, were they expecting some house with that? And first of all, don't be throwing them damn drums. Like, I don't want to see that. If
Yeah.
you ain't paid for them drums, but I don't want to see nobody throwing them drums. This my Bridget hat. When I go ad in on you, you know how much taxes and how much we pay for them back, and y'all throwing them across. You know what I'm saying?
That's band director modes. Drop a drum. It's coming out your scholarship.
Oh my
Like for real.
God.
That's that band director mode right there. You be like, you better not drop
Yes.
them drums.
You got that right.
Yeah, I think Prairie View always does a percussion feature. I don't really like their style. I don't really like Auntie folks want to kill me. I don't like Cold Steel style either. That's just a preference. And they like compete. They kind of compete back and forth. Like each time, like if Auntie, both of them are gonna do a drum feature because they kind of have that little rivalry thing going on. Who's the better drum section? But both of the features was too much. Like when they brought out the ladder, like young man, if you don't get down, because you're gonna fall. Like I was like, what you doing? On the ladder?
That ladder, and the dude jumped through the ladder. Like one dude went flying through the ladder.
And now you got bad luck because you went under a ladder. What y'all doing? That's bad luck. Bad luck. Yeah, it was a bit much. And I like Prairie View. I like Dr. Zachary. I like Dr. Zachary.
Yeah, I like Doc too.
Yeah, and Morgan has some history tied with Prairie View, and so I'm always checking for them. Morgan's first dance coordinator was from Prairie View, so they're the Black Foxes and we have the Foxies, and so I always check for Prairie View. I really, really like them. So I thought it was good. The show just long. I just thought it was long. I thought it was just a long show.
Yeah. And I'll give it to you.
Tired.
What'd you say? What'd you say, Bridget?
I said it might have just been us being tired by then too. Like we've eaten and drinking, and now it's time to go.
I know. With that. For real. And Ernest, I'm gonna let you run with it. The only last thing I had wanted to say was I really enjoyed the storm thing. Last year,
that was hot.
We actually did a show with them, and we all said that we wish that they could do something else with that cyclone that they had. Because you remember last year, or I wonder if it was earlier this year, they just had it, and it was just like spinning in a circle, and we were like, hey, what the hell is that? That's whack. Like, y'all got to do something else with that. That was dope, super dope.
Yeah.
Round of applause, what they did with the circle, and then it rolled out into the world.
I hope they keep that.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, and they had the smoke with it too, Ernest.
Yeah. I know, they did.
They had the smoke. They didn't have no dude. Mr. Gray didn't come out there with a fire extinguisher. They had the smoke machine, yo. You know what I'm
Joe, I'm saying for next year, that anybody with a smoke machine is an infraction. The smoke machine,
everybody had the smoke.
Smoke machine. Now that I'll give you an infraction for if we're gonna do infraction.
Hold up, round of applause. Bridget, you got some hot takes. Okay, so Bridget, your hot take is you gotta repeat it now. Because we gotta put this in the room.
Smoke machine infraction. Smoke machine infraction.
What if it looks good though?
2021, it's an infraction. I will give you that one infraction, Joe. This infraction, but this one, the smoke machine, gotta go. Let's leave them in the 80s, people. Let's leave them in the 80s.
So y'all heard Bridget. You got to come with a smoke machine. And she said, so it doesn't matter how you do it or how discreet it is. If it's out there and you using one, you inflict a penalty. Is that correct, Bridget?
Yeah. So let me tell you, let's be honest. So my thing with the smoke machines is usually we haven't invested in one long enough to have a big enough one or more powerful enough to have the impact that is needed. Like you'll see it sometimes from PWIs and the DCI bands or whatever, and it's like the whole stadium is smoky. But when it looks like somebody smoking a cigarette, you're like, oh, what they doing over there? Like, it's a big difference. And I think just about everybody who smoked, it was like, ooh, for a few seconds, like, ooh, let's fan it, let's get it going. Yeah. And then it was done. You're like, oh, what's going on? I think Prairie View did a little better because they had it in the center of their storm. So theirs kind of a little more sense. But everybody else who had the smoke machines, I'm just like, oh yeah. So yeah, you gotta invest the money in the good smoke machines if you really gonna do it. But that's just me cutting up, y'all. I'm sleepy at this
No,
point.
that's all right, Bridge. That's good. That's good. Cause so now we got that. So we know in the future, y'all, and take notice in the chat room. Pull out that smoke machine. You risk taking a point in the following week's fifth quarter battle. That's just it. Round of applause.
Mhm.
That's outstanding. I like that. All right, y'all. So was that it?
Yeah.
Ernest, did you have anything else about Prairie View, the Storm, on their performance?
And I was just gonna say that I was impressed with their auxiliary, their flag work throughout the show.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
yeah, they did a good job. I was really impressed. And it did some changes too. And then I was impressed with uh, um, the formation. I'm looking at this show right now, but and they're at that formation with that big old storm going into the word storm. That kind of distracted me. But but yeah, I was impressed with that first formation after the PVU. I can't remember what it was, but that looked good as well. So they did some good drilling things, and they did some good playing. They're a big band. Like I think Prairie View might have been the biggest band there. That's why they were last.
Yeah. And they
But
were big. They were bigger during the season too. They were bigger.
Yeah, they were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they absolutely were. I didn't like the black uniforms on the girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, that kind of brings the excitement level or the energy level of what they're doing down a little bit, tones it down. And I think you want to pick it up. You want to pop it up. So bright colors for the girls, man. And yeah, but they did good. Shout out to B Hop. My boy B Hop is the Ranger at Prairie View, South Carolina State alone.
Throwing that in there. Look at him throwing that in there.
Hey, South Carolina State running thing. And then real quick before we go out, Ernest said, I don't know if y'all picked this up. Ernest said, "What's up?" to like 3 different organizations at the beginning. So I don't know, man. I called Bridget, mess around. She's a master hazer. I don't know about you, Ernest. I don't know about Ernest, man. I'm scared of Ernest, man.
No, I wasn't a hazer. No, I wasn't a hazer, bro. I just joined a lot of clubs. That's all.
Well, that's good. That's good. Me, myself, I was not a hazer because nobody was about to let me do anything wrong to them because I was too silly. It's like, are you trying to be mad? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, my bad, man. So yeah.
2 things before we go. It's funny you said that about the black uniforms because I was mentioning that earlier. I was talking to somebody earlier in the season. Black uniforms, you can't see what the girls are doing either. You lose the girls in all blue. And so a couple bands have done it this year. I don't know if it was Benedict. We was watching another game and I kind of said, I was like, losing the girls in the black. So I totally agree with you. When you put them in black, it's hard to really see their body motions, what they're doing. You're right. You need that bright color. That's number 1. Number 2, flag work. So let me tell you a little story. When I tell you Morgan and PV has history, when Dr. Zachary took over Prairie View, he brought in, Morgan's flag coordinator time was Julian Williams. He has big ties to DCI, and we had really good flag was there. He brought him down to train their girls. So every time I see them, I'm like, they look like line. They look just like shout out to them. And then the last thing, I got to go to the chat room because I got to call somebody out. Brian Knowles just came in here and said Honda is dry AF as family appropriate show. First of all, if you wasn't there, you can't say that. But second of all, were you saying it was dry as when Miles was in there? I'm gonna leave that question there. We didn't say it when Miles was there, so let's not do that. They did all the bands did a nice job. It wasn't dry. It was actually, for me, one of the more enjoyable. This is the first one where I've enjoyed all the bands. I'm gonna be honest.
I can say that too.
I agree because and it was what we were alluding to at the beginning. I felt like all the bands were on the same level. Like it wasn't a small band competition. Like I didn't see a different band and feel like Honda should have like 2 separate like scoring systems or something. I felt like they were all the same.
Yeah.
So that's actually a really good point, Bridget.
to the table. They all brought it to the table. You know, we sit here and we cut up, and it's easy to sit back here and eat my burger, whatever, and talk about them bands. But let me tell you, them band directors put in some work, and it was obvious.
Yes.
Like every band brought something to the table and something to really clap for. I can honestly say I was willing to clap for every band, and nobody else was like, "Ooh, that's fish sandwich." They said,
Right.
"Let that."
Right.
So every band came out, and we can analyze this, do our analysis all we want, but every
Right.
band from Benedict all the way down to Prairie View really put
Yep.
forth a solid presentation. So congratulations to them. And no, it was a good Honda. I thought they well
Yes, it
balanced.
was.
Good. I thought it was a good presentation.
Round of applause. Round of applause. Round of applause. All right. So real quick, can y'all hear the music?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, cool. I'm just double checking, make sure it's perfectly in the background. So it's the moment of truth, y'all. You don't have to give me 8 in order, but I guess who do you think had the best performance? And we don't have to say who had the worst performance because it seemed like everybody did good. Because I can't say who got like 8th place. I don't even know if I can say who
Right.
got 4th or 5th place. To be honest with you. But who do you think had the best performance or the most memorable performance? Like when you look back, I remember this most about, you know. Who do you guys think? Ernest, I'll let you go. What you think, man?
All right. So for reasons that I'll notate later, I had to go with A&T, man. A&T's number one, followed by Fam, and then in third place I had Jackson State.
Okay, all right.
A&T, Fam, Jackson State.
All right. Bridget, what you think?
I really do hate to rank them. I will tell you who I
Yeah.
really like. I'm going to tell you who I liked, and I'm going to tell you who's the most memorable for me, and I'm going to tell you why. I think Auntie had a really solid overall show. I can kind of agree with that, but most memorable for me was Benedict and Hampton because they brought something to the table I hadn't seen, or they just kind of turned up. They just turned it up a notch. Benedict, I'd never really seen face to face, and then they brought a nice little presentation.
Hold on, you kind of breaking up a little bit. What'd you say,
The
Bridget?
music loud. The music loud. I couldn't hear nothing.
Oh, how was that
And
going
then
up?
Hampton, just because Hampton has changed and gone like a whole different direction, I think their
Mhm.
performances was really solid. I like Jackson State band. I always say I like Jackson State, so I like them. But everybody, like I said, brought something to the table that I can appreciate. I really appreciate. If I had to pick a winner, if I had to, if y'all like tie me down and make me pick a winner, I probably would give it to A&T. I would give it to A&T. If I had to absolutely pick a winner, I would give it to
Right.
A&T.
That's what
Brian,
I'd say too.
Brian
If
Knowles,
I had to pick somebody.
Brian Knowles is on timeline trying to troll my timeline. He need to go somewhere and sit down. He just mad because Miles and none of the Alabama bands was there. Sit down somewhere, sir.
Oh.
I love you.
And we talked about that at the beginning, Brian, because y'all got the shaft, because y'all hooked up, y'all try to coincide with Eddie and do your own battle of the band. So, you know, the powers that be in Hampton, they mad about that. They didn't want y'all to do that. But it's all
Yeah.
good. We want y'all to come back, and hopefully y'all have more. Hopefully there'll be another battle. Eddie will have another one next year. You know what I'm saying? We need to have more. You know what I'm saying? So for me, this one's tough because all I cared about was I just needed Jackson State to be better than A&T. So I could like say it on Christy's Facebook page. I say, Christy, we did better than y'all this year. You know what I'm saying? But that dance routine really, really pissed me off. No, not the dance routine, but the dance kids coming out there. And then the one time they were rolling, and then somebody was jumping up. Like, damn it, Jackson State, that hurt. So I did not want to see that. I personally though, no. Other than Grambling doing all the stuff they were doing, I thought Grambling had a good show. I thought Benedict had a good show. And I mean, I have to say like A&T because it was a complete show, so I got to give it to A&T too. But I mean, other than Grambling moving so much, I halfway feel like Grambling had like the best show. They just had the most energy from the beginning to the end, and Benedict had good energy too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's between them because Fam messed up. Jackson State, they were picking up too many infractions. That's what the big bands were. And I guess A&T had less like they didn't do anything that really got on
Yeah.
my nerves. You know what I'm saying? They didn't really do
Right.
anything that was just like, too bad. So I guess that's it. Let me give you guys another round of applause. We've been talking for about 3 hours.
Whoa.
Wow.
So I know it's late over there.
Fresh, and I'm fresh off the plane. I'm telling you, I ran from the plane straight to set up.
I know.
So.
That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
We want a round of applause for Bridget. Bridget,
Yeah.
appreciate you.
For real.
Tired.
A lot of folks
wanted
is
to get- I wanted
tired.
to get- It was good. This was a good conversation, so I wanted to make sure I was in place for this one.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Well, we glad to have you, and shout out to you. So as we close, I'll give you guys the floor. Anything coming up, and I know we'll talk about if we like have a year-end wrap-up show. Be on the lookout for the Rogers brothers. I think Bridget is on there too. We're gonna be. I think they have a panel this year, and then they're gonna be voting on the stuff, and then have that information come out. So we won't have like superlatives and like awards on this show, just so we don't like overwrite stuff that can be said on that show. But we will try to do like a wrap-up something, I'm sure. Or I'll touch base with you two about what to do. Say, peace and love to all the people. So all the Bulldogs and all the Morgan State brethren can see you guys one last time for the year. And also, coming up in the off season is Chopping It Up. So I will be definitely going after Morgan State's band director. And I'll be going after some other people that you guys know. Bridget, have we chopped it up? Have we done a Chop It Up with Bridget?
No, not yet.
So yeah, see,
Really?
Yeah, we actually see it's a lot. It's so many people, man. If this was my real job, man, I would talk to everybody. You know what I'm saying? So we gonna get all that going in the off season, and then coming in the spring, remember, it's National Signing Day for marching bands. So a whole new crop of people going out, telling the world where they'll be marching this fall. So Ernest, anything to say, man, before we wrap up this podcast?
Man, I just want everyone to pray for the Bryant family. We lost a legend today, and I know we had a great time on the podcast, but just keep them in your prayers, man, as you go about the rest of your evening.
I agree. Bridget, anything else before we sign off the podcast?
Thank you to everyone who's been watching and following us tonight and all season long. You can't even imagine how many people came up to me like, "Oh, y'all in the Marching Podcast. I know who you are."
Yeah.
People are watching, people are sharing. Keep liking us, sharing us. Shout out to all the media teams. I love how everybody's kind of supporting and pulling each other along. And it's no hate, all love. That all love is a wonderful thing. My Roger brothers love you to death. All Travis and Showtime, with all those people. Thank you for supporting us, and we continue to support you. Shout out to the Epsilon Omega chapter of Tau Beta Sigma. So my Roz and my brothers at Gamma and everybody who came, we saw this weekend, all the love, the HBCU love. It's just a beautiful thing. But again, thank you for supporting the Marching Podcast. We love having you a part of that. Thank you, Joe, for putting it together, keeping us together. In spite us being, life challenges and all that stuff, we keep it rolling. So thank y'all for hanging with us. Sure. But like and share. Tell your friends to join us. Share.
You sure appreciate that, Bridget. And again, you make a good point about showing love to Rogers Brothers and Show Style. I watch their shows more than I watch mine, because like I hear myself talk, and I go through and do the editing and the timestamp. So I listen to their show, and then I like now that we're all using OBS. Shout out to Brandon, because I remember I called him. And I was like, hey, man, how do you do your show? Because you guys remember we were over at NBC, and, they were trying to charge us so much money. And, I really wasn't comfortable with how much they were charging us. So I called Brandon, and he's like, oh, man, we use this software. We use this program. And then next thing you know, we able to do it in our own cribs. And the guys down there at Show Style are able to do it. I like what they do, because they be eating. Like they'll get some pizza, and they'll be like having their show, and they'll be eating at the same time. So I like their show, and I always love the Rogers Brothers because they be cussing. My mom watches my show, so I'm scared to cuss in front of my mom.
Shout out to the Rogers Brothers, man. Yeah, so one-on-one alum.
There you go. Another song. I say it everywhere.
We
So let me
everywhere, baby.
tell you a funny comment. When I was on the party bus with them, Javante and Brandon, the Rogers brothers, it was like, y'all come on right before us. We watch y'all show, we kind of taking notes, and then we get on to do our show. I was like, I love them. I love it. That's what you get to do. I was like, they was like, cause y'all be doing that in-depth analysis. I was cracking up laughing, but we love you too, Brandon, Javante, Rogers bros. We definitely like them
Yeah,
too.
For
man.
sure,
Big up to
man.
the bros, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Well, you're doing your thing. We're definitely proud of what y'all doing. And I'm just happy that,
Absolutely.
like you guys said, it's definitely love between all of us. Um, Kevin sent Travis. Travis has got the real band uncut. He got a sweatshirt now. So I see Travis walking around wearing the uncut sweatshirt. So it's all
Nice.
good stuff. You know what I'm saying? I think we going somewhere. And
Yeah.
Oprah and Tyler Perry, y'all need to open up your network to us. We probably should have our own channel. We could come up with content all throughout the day. Because if you putting certain stuff out there, Tyler, I love you, but you should be hollering at us and saying
Wait,
Yep.
some
wait,
of the
wait,
stuff.
wait. One more thing. So I went to Tyler Perry Studios while I was there. It's, I pulled up to the gate. I was like, I'm getting in. I'm getting through the gate. So I get out. I get out the car. Police officer, ma'am, you need to get back inside your car. Is Mr. Perry me? Is Mr. Perry here? Ma'am, you need to get inside your car. Hey, I pulled up to the gate, and then the guard was like, "Ma'am, this is not open to the public yet. It's not open to the public yet." So I look at her, and I'm like, "Ma'am, you really like your job here?" Then she went all of a sudden started talking to me, telling me, "I really do." And da. We was like, "So where's Mr. Perry?" We was like, "So where's Mr. Perry?" He's like, "Well, he's not here." Well, no, she didn't say that. She's like, "We can't reveal his schedule." Da. And I'm just like, she's like, "But I will let you kind of go up." So I got to go beyond the gate to look around, and they put me out, loop around, whatever. But Tyler Perry, it is hot. It is nice. I was so glad to get to see it. But yeah, your girl almost got arrested. I was about to pull a full Medea. I was about to go to full Medea. They were about to get me. Tell me, "Man, get back in your car." So Tyler Perry, come on, pull us through.
That's what's up. And shout out to my band, our fellow HBCU alum and bandmate, Mara Hall. Mara has a recurring role on. Oh, Lord, I was about to say Damages. It's not Damages. What's the with Robin Givens on the OWN network and Essence Atkins? Is that show? I swear, every time I get live, I forget stuff. But she's on that show. And I'm really proud of you, Mara. Mara played tuba. She's a crab of 94 from Detroit, out of the great Martin Luther King High School. She marched tuba, and then later on she marched clarinet. Finished with her.
Myra Roden?
Mara Hall.
Mara Hall? Okay.
Mara Hall, yeah. And she's doing really good. Advanced through her career. She was a music teacher for a while, and then she said, "Hey, I want to be an actress." And then she straight up moved to California, moved to LA. And I remember seeing her all these years, and she's like put her career together really well. So she's over there. She's in Atlanta now, but she still comes back and forth. But yeah, she's over there at Tyler Perry Studios all the time working. So shout out to her. And shout out to the Boom. Shout out to Martin Luther King High School in Detroit. All right, y'all. Love talking to y'all again, and then I'll holler at y'all this week as far as how we land the show. If you like the show, hit us up, and we can start to pub your business using our platform. We'll put the little stuff down there at the bottom. You see at the ticker. Play a commercial, put it on Twitter, all that stuff to let the world know who you guys are, and we'll circle our dollars around because they say that we don't be letting each other touch the same dollar. So we trying to dispel that whole thing here. You know what I'm saying? All right.
Right.
So signing off. Anything else before we sign off, Ernest?
I'm out, player.
All right, man. Good to see you, man. Anything
You
before we
too,
end
you
out to the pride of Morgan State, Bridget Bell? Anything, Bridget?
Nothing much. You all have a fantastic week. Again, we're praying for the Bryant family. Shout out to them as well. Thank y'all for all the love.
All right, guys. Love to see you guys. Appreciate all the love. Thank you for the support. Remember, I think what's the last thing I say? The lectures you deliver may be very fine and true, but I'd rather get my lesson in observing what you do. And be on the lookout. We'll do one more show. We'll be doing something. We'll let you know. But again, have a good new year. Have a good year. Stay focused. Everybody lose some weight. Everybody try to hit up the gym. That's what I'm doing.
Everybody go on a fast.
There you go. Go on a fast. And next time I'm trying to show up and be like 145 at the next Honda. Well,
No,
not that little. Maybe not that little. But I'm trying to get under 200 pounds, Ernest. It's tough, man.
You got it, bro. You got it.
You right. You right. All right, y'all. Y'all be cool. Good to hear from you. Love
All
y'all.
right.
And we'll see y'all next
All right,
week.
y'all.
Take care.
Yeah.
And that's it for the 90 Degree Show for this week. Tune in next week with Joe Beard, where the marching band battles continue.